Hey guys, BJ the Brave here, back with some more Shadowverse Worlds Beyond content. And guys, this is an exciting one. Today I am going to be bringing you a in-depth video with the recent Shadowverse qualifier to winner, and that is my guildmate and teammate Barric. Barric is here. And also joining us is Targuil, is also one of our sort of top players in our guild. Now, for those who are wondering what we're going to cover, we're going to basically, I'm going to introduce the guys. We're going to talk through the Barric's kind of preparation for the Shadowverse Open. We're going to talk about the different decks. We're going to go through card by card, and we're really going to get his playbook and his inside thoughts on why he picked the cards that he did and how he sees those in the current meta. The two decks that we're going to be talking about are Abyss and Izudia Control. And so the three of us are going to get into some good discussion about those decks and how to play them. So hopefully you will get lots of great insight and great tips. But just before we do that, very quickly, for listeners who don't know who Barric is and who Targuil is, they were quite shy about talking about this on the commentary team because I think they don't like to mention other games. But basically, our guild, the Collegian Magistron, we've come over from a game called Warpforge. We've played other CCGs too. But Barric was consistently a top 10 player on ladder in Warpforge and would be a very active member in the community. And also joining us is Targuil, who was the 3 times War Master, which, just so you know, that means he finished top of ladder in 3 different seasons, which I don't think anybody else did in Warpforge. So, Targuil is also a Grandmaster with the Abyss craft class as well, so and helped Barric quite a lot with the prep and stuff. So I thought the 3 of us getting together to talk through. So guys, welcome to the channel. Good to have you. Shall we jump straight into it?
For sure, yeah, that sounds great.
Okie dokie. So let's start then. Barric, just talk us through a little bit about your preparation for the Shadowverse Open. What kind of went into, how did you prep for it, and how did you kind of arrive at your decisions?
I see, yeah. So looking at this open date, when I signed up for it, it was going to be like just a week after the new set released. We still haven't even seen all the new set cards, but I think people were expecting it to shake things up a decent amount. Furthermore, going into like a fresh meta, there's a lot of room for exploiting things with like unknown deck combinations, just newer things that people don't have as much practice with. So I was definitely looking to play something new. Abyss caught my eye early on from the reveals as something that had like a very mid-range base gameplay with storm lethal finishers. Felt similar to the playstyle I was using with mid-sword last season. And then I started out the season playing eggs as well, thinking that I just like Portal, but that didn't pan out so well. So a few days before deck registration deadline, I saw some Izudia Forest videos, saw the reports that it was very good against Crest. That made sense how the OTK works. Saw some other reports that it was very good against more aggro-based board strategies that don't have a lot of late game value when you switch to the second game plan. And I picked that up just 2 days before the tournament, grinded a bunch of that on ladder, and saw that it had like a very good rate into Sword and Crest, which were at least 60% of the meta combined at the moment, at least on ladder. So I'm feeling pretty good with my picks. Mode, I just had put the most time in since the set began, and so I went with those.
Awesome. And Targuil, I wanted to ask you as well, like, obviously we know now, 2020 vision, we know how everything worked out very well for Barric in the end, but what were your thoughts when you saw Barric's picks, when you saw he'd pick these 2 particular decks going into the tournament?
Well, Abyss was obviously the go-to choice because he was playing it already, and well, I know it is pretty well balanced and can do pretty well against everything. I guess there's no surprise there. And Izudia, well, I was a bit surprised, but I have faced a few Izudia decks on ranked, and I frankly got pretty destroyed by them.
Really?
Usually, yeah.
Was that with you playing Crest or playing Abyss?
Mostly Crest.
Mostly Crest, yeah.
I didn't face them much with Mode. I don't. Maybe once or twice, but I don't.
Okay.
They didn't leave an impression on me.
Okay, well, we'll jump into the decks then, just a second. But Barric, it might just be good, just very quickly, just give a little bit of an outline, because I think people kind of like this. They're going to see the games in a minute. We're going to break down the gameplay and talk about the decks. It's all very technical, and you made one big mistake, which everybody's going on about, and we'll come on to that. But I think it might be really good to just kind of paint like a bit of the human story behind the tournament scene, the sort of stuff that people don't really understand. They don't see what goes into this, kind of like how you were feeling and stuff. So just give a little bit of insight about kind of how this happened, what time you know, how much time you put into it over the weekend, etc.
Yeah, well, I mean, I play this game a lot. I'm Grandmaster, and I put in a lot of time to grinding ladder, but I haven't really done a lot of like high organized competition recently. I've had a few competitive Hearthstone collegiate games like 5 years ago or so, but this is kind of the first time I've been getting high up in competition as of late in pretty much any game. So when I saw myself at like 6-1 in Swiss, I was like, wow, this is actually a chance I made like top 8 or something, or at least the play-ins. And I mean, Friday night, I guess. First of all, the time zone thing was kind of rough because it started at 9 p.m. for me, and on the Swiss night, Friday, the matches lasted until 4 a.m. I didn't.
Wow.
So that was just, 7 straight hours of playing. Like maybe like if you finish quickly, you might have like a 20-minute break. But usually it was back-to-back games. Trying to check in, do all the buttons, look at. It's open deck format, which is kind of a big part of the strategy that we'll get into for sure. But it also means I'm like having to look at every deck list and try to figure out like their one-ofs and their potential tech percentages and do all that between games. There's a lot of calculation going in. Also figuring out thinking out what to queue first because of the 2-deck best of one format. There's like all that pre-planning going into selection there. So definitely 7 hours of full brain time, and then didn't get a lot of sleep that night. Went in late, 9 p.m. yesterday for the finals, which I was, like I said, not really expecting to get to. And then really just for I guess I lost one actually match in the quarters, but the other ones felt pretty solid. And then I just felt pretty good going into the semis, even though I knew my opponent was really highly rated in Rune, and Rune in particular, I felt my picks were pretty weak against Rune on ladder in the tournament. They didn't drop a single game to Rune, both of the decks, which I was very surprised.
That's crazy. That's so good.
I guess I was feeling some sort of power up from that record so far, and it carried through. And there's just a lot of focus going on my game plan and how to win. We'll talk about with the mode Abyss. I kind of took a little different strategy than I used to at the beginning of the season with it, particularly in my tournament play. And then, Izudia Forest, I can actually look right now. I had like 60-something Forest wins on rank. So I've only gotten 30 wins with Izudia Forest before I was playing it during the tournament too in between games. So less than 25 wins with Izudia Forest before the tournament. So I was still learning things on the fly. But also locking in how to win certain lines, how to exploit certain patterns that come up. And I think I did that in all my games with Izudia, so that felt pretty good.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think people don't really see that kind of the first of all, just the literal amount of, the times that you're playing. Like you said, playing from 9 o'clock at night, going through to 4 a.m. You're absolutely exhausted. It's 7 hours of intense concentration. Then because of the depth and you thinking through all the different play lines, like you can sometimes almost get so hyper focused on the detail of what you're supposed to be doing 3 turns from now that you can miss something obvious, right? Like, in addition to the tiredness. So the Friday night 9 till 4, did you have a break before the play-ins, or was that straight after the Swiss?
There was a little bit of, there was maybe like a 40 to an hour break, especially because I went 9-1 in the Swiss. So with that record, they gave you a bye in the first round of the play-in, so I only had to play 2 matches, 6 games after that. So I think overall I played 9 rounds of Swiss because my first opponent did not show in the first round. 6 games in the play-in, that's 15, and then in the finals there was 4, 7, So 22 games in all.
Crazy amount. And am I right in thinking that you, in all 3 phases, you only dropped, so you dropped 1 game in Swiss to Cresthaven, one game to Cresthaven in the play-ins, and 1 game to Cresthaven in the final 3 games, right?
Yeah,
and that was
that's
the
correct.
only losses you had. It's amazing. Well, I'm super keen to get into the decks, guys. I'm sure everybody who's listening is keen to see this too. I know. Let's start with Mode Abyss, because I know, Targuil, you are. You know, this was like the first class you picked up, wasn't it? Pretty much when you started Shadowverse, and you had some good insights to share with Barric. So let's take a look. This is the deck that you brought, and I think we should go through this card by card, because people looking at this might think, what's going on? There's lots of like 1-ofs, 2-ofs. It kind of looks a bit messy, but I'm sure you guys are going to talk about this, and it's going to see why this was quite deliberate. So, just first of all, why Mode Abyss, and where do both of you guys see this in the meta right now?
Well,
Yeah.
I can start. Yeah, I'd actually like to go back to the set 2 for a moment. I first thought that mid-range Abyss in set 2 was going to be absolute garbage, but turns out it wasn't as bad as I thought. I still didn't play it in set 2, but I still felt it was missing something. And I think the mode package was what it was missing. So when set 3 came out, I just crafted it day 1 and started playing.
And is it when you say the mode was missing, Targuil, is that as in like the flexibility that the choice that you've got at every stage?
Yeah, there were too many cards that you just play and they didn't do anything, and on Funfair or Hatras or anything. Well, we got well about that's what's pretty much about it. And it was just you just put stats on board and hope they stick, and then use Cerberus and maybe do something. And that's what about it could do, I felt like. But now you can actually do stuff without spending about points.
Yes, do without spending either. That's a big part of it, isn't it? Yeah. So Barry, what made you end up choosing this then, and talk us through the cards? Oh, Barry, have we lost you?
Oh yeah, sorry. Like I was saying in the beginning, at the beginning of the set and this end of spoilers, I saw that this kind of had a playstyle similar to Midsword from last season, where all the cards now, most of them were good value at their rate on curve. You were building into a powerful finisher, some late game inevitability, like the Gildaria free SVO from last season that was rampant. Now we would have double mode procs after Shamnacha is activated late game, and getting double mode procs on Congregant or the Gensetsu, even Rule and Val. Those are all like backbreaking to get without having to spend Evo points. So I like that bit, not having to play a deck that was like all in mid-range or all in aggro, but having a lot of flexibility. I mean, that just kind of goes to the inherent part of like mode cards in card games. We can already see from Rune's success, like the inclusion of Sage-like teachings as heal or AoE, and then sometimes dirt. Like the versatility of cheap cards or powerful cards is very impactful, and that was what this entire new archetype for Abyss was bringing, was versatility. I mean, look at some of the staple cards like Devotee of Entwining and Supplicant of Entwining. Devotee is just like Apollo or a body on curve for rate. And Apollo is like decent against aggro, but is trash against any other like taller, longer strategy because it's a pitiful body. But this thing is actually a 7/7 on Evolve.
Yeah.
For 3 PP, which is ridiculous stats that a lot of decks don't have answers for. And in this open list format, it was able to exploit it even more, because I could see if you actually even had the answer in your list. That's particularly useful. We'll get into facing Cresthaven. Getting up to 7 or more stats before their Marwyn Evolve turn is pretty significant in this meta. Supplicant as well. This guy is damage or healing on Evo, and he can double that with the Evo trigger. That's just, I mean, that's everything that you want. He can either be like a proactive heal yourself up, or he can be reactive, clear something without having to threaten his life total, or he can clear, if the RNG is lucky, he can clear 3 things at once on his Evo turn, essentially trading with Zirconia and incrementing your fate by 2. So just really solid, really versatile. It had a lot of answers, and it could also run a lot of powerful Abyss cards from Season 2, like Medusa and Aragavi, Swire, Soiree, Vuela even. So yeah, I still had room to incorporate the powerful Abyss cards that already were there. And so, I mean, I had good performance on ladder, and I tuned it a lot though. There's a lot that can go on with it. I don't know if we want to get into the individual.
Yeah, let's go.
Choices.
Let's walk through the cards, and I mean, Barric, you talk us through it, and obviously, Targuil, if you've got any thoughts on any of these inclusions or anything missing, then you can chip in as well. Start us off with the 1 of Reaper, then.
Yeah, sure. So, actually, I will say that I think a lot of the picks I had for this list, particularly, if it's not maybe the one I ran on ladder as much, are probably from some of Targuil's selection that he shared. But Reaper in particular, you either combine it in Abyss with the Soiree or Ding Dong, because those are cards that you can get a body to sacrifice to it with little cost or value additional. So Soiree, you sacrifice a skeleton, 0 cost, so you turn this thing into 1 mana removal, and it's not negative cards for you either, because Soiree gave you 2 other cards to still use. With Ding Dong, it's 3 mana removal, but the Ding Dong is going to cycle itself, and now you have something to reanimate with Cyclone if you pick that package. I didn't. For this, it's really just to push damage. You can also use it with, like, as often mentioned, with the SVO, because it won't kill it on your turn. So it lets you push with 1 extra play point. You can remove a blocker for Rule Val Storm, or if you have Odin and you have 8 PP, you can banish 1 ward, kill the other with Reapers, push damage. So very versatile card is a 1 of. Too many of them, and you have hands with duplicates and not enough things to sacrifice, and it starts feeling like a dead card. But 1 of, there's almost always something to get use out of it.
Yeah, I'd like to say something about it too. So in set 1 and 2, there was a problem with Reaper's Deathless that Abyss didn't have a card draw at all. Like, so I felt like it had too little value for a card to be included in Abyss decks. But now there's Castle, there's Scream, and there's Soiree. You have enough value generators to actually run Death Slash.
I see.
1 of.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
It can still speak if you get too much and not enough targets for them.
All right. And I'm very interested to get both of your view on Dark Side. I think this is probably a card that, not many Abyss players do run. So, Barric, do you want to start?
Yeah, so that was an interesting card. I remember in set 2, spoilers, a lot of people had like high hopes for this card. Like, oh, it's super flexible. It's 2 PP removal for most things that get played on turn 2. It can help you push, especially with Odin, can help you push lethal. And it just wasn't used a whole lot. Some rune lists used it as like early game Stormy Blast that also spell boot,
Yeah.
But still never saw a lot of use. And then when I was tinkering around with like the early game package for Mode Abyss at the beginning of the season, I was just essentially, when I was unhappy with most of the 2-cost followers of Abyss, I was looking around at like all the 2-cost cards, and I saw this, and I'm like, I kind of like removal early game that doesn't like cost another guy like Deathlash, or that doesn't deal me damage like Rage of Serpents. And also, when I started adding Gil and Elise into the deck, I realized how potent you can use this on to get extra heal from Gil and Elise, giving it like increased versatility. And that's gonna kind of start adding to the theme of this deck, which is like the mode, the versatility, the modality, that even the non-mode cards in the deck that don't have the word mode on them have versatility inherent to them, which kind of adds to the deck's theme of power of giving you choices. So I can use this to remove, I can use this to push lethal, or I can use this to heal more if I have Gil and Elise out. And it only costs 2, so it fills your curve, early game play, etc.
Really interesting, that idea that it's almost like a mode card. Anything to add, Targuil, or is it pretty much mirror or echo?
Yeah, it's nice that you can play it on 2, because if you have to play defensive game and you have a Scream in hand and opponent has 2 followers on board, you're basically gambling with Scream. But if you can remove one of them on the previous turn with Dark Side, then your Scream will hit their bigger drop.
Yeah, the 4 damage from the Scream, referring to there as the 3 drop.
So the damage you take doesn't compound as much, nearly as much then.
And that's super interesting as well. Something Targuil just said there, which is, if you have to play defensive, I guess that's also one of the strengths of this as a true mid-range deck, right? That you've designed it in a way where it can push and it can go play as the beatdown, but equally we've got cards in here to play a more controlling line. Yeah, really interesting. What about the Lesser Mummy then? There's quite a few 2/2 drops, as in 2/2 statted 2 drops in this class now. So what gives Mummy the nod over the others? Barric.
Oh, you can go, Targuil. Yeah, it was your
okay.
choice.
Well, my choice for Mummy is simply because it has Storm, and yeah, you can combine it with Gilnelly's Dark Side, Castle, and just out of nowhere put all your PP into pushing Mummy damage into face. It can do some real damage.
Oh my god, yeah, so you've got Mummy, Super Evo's 5. If you had Castle down, Castle can be 6, right? With that, and then you could do Gilnelly's, so that would be 8. Is that right?
Well, Castle is +2 if you use it twice. It always depends how much.
So 9, so potentially 9 damage from hand from a Lesser Mummy. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, of course. Yeah, so just that additional, having that Storm is just really another option, isn't it, for finish?
Obviously, at 10, you can just serve it with Mummy and get 4 damage.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Otherwise, it can be just played as vanilla 2/2 in some matchups. Not the worst, but yeah.
So that was some positive influencing, was it, Barric? This idea came from Targuil.
Yeah, like I was saying, I was very unhappy with most of the 2-drop packages that Abyss was running. I've tried Barrel, I've tried the slower like Ding Dong and Reanimate, Cyclone. I really kind of went somewhere in between. Targuil was suggesting and praising Mummy, and that was what was seeing a lot of success with. And it seemed like it's not bad to drop on 2, like just a body on curve on rate, and then it actually has like late game versatility. Push face. I mean, it can eat Storm. You can also still attack followers, so it can just be like 2 damage removal in a pinch. And I mean, the deck needs something to drop proactively if you're going first or second, even if you don't have the soiree, or a lot of games you don't want to play Shamnacha on 2, although some I would consider it. So yeah, it's just something to fill the curve, and it's versatile.
So I suppose people might be listening to that and thinking, why only 2 then? Why not 3 copies?
Just like deck space, and it eats some shadow. I mean, I only have 2 Cerberus in, but not all the time. If you're trying to play Cerberus on 8, do you even have the 6 shadow if you've already spent a Mummy previously? And I mean, they're like just, yeah, there's a deck space. There wasn't another slot for it with the other things I wanted to run. I mean, there's an argument you could like cut Ovella to put 3 Mummies in there, but Ovella has her place on the curve as well. So.
Okay. All right, so let's keep going through the deck then. So you've got a single Rage of Serpents, and then you've also got 3 copies of Shamnacha. And just very quickly, if you're kind of new to this faction, Shamnacha basically means that you have this faith mechanic, and every time you play a mode card, your faith number increases in the crest. It's a crest, isn't it? So it increases, and then if you play Shamnacha, it will basically, if you've got 10, then it essentially means that from the rest of the game, you can increase the number of modes that you can select by 1, which is an incredibly powerful ability. And I guess if you're going to run Mode Abyss, you do need 3 copies. Anything else to say about Shamnacha and why the single copy of Rage?
I mean, no, Shamnacha is just like the reason you're playing all the mode cards. Like, you have to play her. She's really not great until you have mode turned on. I mean, sometimes the SVO is useful before you have mode. You need to remove it. It actually is pretty efficient. 2 PP SVOs essentially fills Dow's power, but you also get a card for it. It's particularly useful in the mirror. I was the only one who had Mode Abyss in the finals, and I don't think I saw any Mode Abyss in my Swiss games either, or the play-ins. But in the mirror on ladder, SVOing Shamnacha to steal their opponent's Gensetsu is really good, because now you have 4 Gensetsus in your deck, in your hand.
Yeah,
but the single copy of Rage, I don't really like Rage. It deals you damage, it's really just like an aggro card because you're trading 2 of your life for 3 of theirs in most instances. It's even worse to really use as a removal. You kind of only want to do that in a pinch. But this is an open list format, and so I wanted, as well as like I'm looking at my opponent's list to see what they do and don't have. They're hopefully looking at my list to see what I do and don't have. And if they see like a 1x of rage, they have to like hopefully respect my extra 3 reach with 2 PP. So maybe it makes them play around something that they wouldn't otherwise have to do. Same later on the list, you'll see some other 1-ofs. It's just like it's good to present those threats. A lot of reason why people ran like 1x Urius in the mid sword last season in those qualifiers. Yeah, it's good to present a threat that your opponent, if they're considering everything, should have to play around.
Yeah, I think Rage is a tournament pick.
Yeah, you don't play that on ladder, Targuil.
I used to, but one copy, but I dropped it for my first Dark Side. I just found Dark Side more flexible overall.
So if you were dropping Rage for this to use this list, but on ladder, what would you replace Rage with?
On this list, I'd probably put Medusa in.
Put Medusa in, yeah.
I mean, this list is like 2 cards different from my list.
Mm-hmm.
It's I have a Third Serp and Medusa, and I don't have Rage, and I only have 1 Dark Side, so yeah, 2 cards different.
Yeah. Right, okay. All right, let's keep going. Ghastly Soiree. I mean, this card is, I guess, a little bit more down the kind of value and control line, right? But again, only 2 copies.
Yeah. I mean, me and Targuil discussed this too at the beginning of the season. Like, Soiree is one of the cards from like Season 2 Abyss that I felt like, oh, it's a really good Abyss card. I should just include it in 3 copies, especially with your castles and all like Rule and Battle are giving you cards in hand once you have mode active. Like, your hand can get really full late game that you kind of don't want to be burning cards, especially if it could be a Twins or a Cerberus that you burn on accident. So you don't want 3 copies. A lot of risks run 0, but because they're running the other 2 drops that I'm, like I said, not a fan of. And so with the Reaper's Death Slash, like we already mentioned, the Skeleton synergy, Targuil might talk about this a little more, but the Ghost is very versatile, and like I said, versatility is the key here. And then the Zombie is just like, if you don't have a 3 drop, you can play it on 3, you can save it for later to make a stickier board in combination with a 4 or 5 drop. It's useful. It makes your hand look like you have more things in it. If your opponent for some reason ain't counting that you only have a bunch of Soiree trash. But I mean, the Ghost is good, and I'll let Targuil say anything else he wants to do about that.
Yeah, I ran 3 copies at start, and it just clunked my hand too much.
Okay.
So yeah, it's 2 copies, maximum maybe 1. Even sometimes even at 2, it's too much. But sometimes you just don't have enough early game to do what you want, and that's just 2 and 3 drop easy in 1 package, plus the Ghost, which can be used in variety of ways. Usually with the Serp, but sometimes you can just do some really weird plays. Like with Mummy, you can just evo the Ghost, Dark-sided, and just go face. But it's usually when you see some lethal line down the line.
So Super Evo Ghost would be a 3/3, and then you can Dark Side it, and it becomes a 5/1. Wow.
4/4, then 6/6 Sand, and then you can. Well, it's just 1 less than Mummy and cost 1 less. So basically the same potential as Mummy for less damage.
And I guess Ghastly Sorrow is just a nice one in the mulligan, isn't it? One that to keep, right? Giving you that flexibility on turn 2
Yeah, but in some matchups, like Mirror Match, you just want more mode cards much more. So basically, if you're playing Soiree, you're playing much less for more mode, because well, you're basically taking 2 turns off playing modes.
That's true. All right. So I'm sure when we get into the actual games, we talk about like the different lines and which matchups you need to go heavier into the mode for and mulligan for. So we'll do that when we do the games. Okay, let's speed along a little bit. So Castle of Entwining and Vuela. We've got 3 copies of Castle and 2 Vuela. Anything to say on these, Barric?
I mean, Castle is just like a mode staple. Like, you running this 3 of every mode deck because it has mode, and it can do mode twice for only 3 play points, and it is card positive, and it is flexible. It can give you extra lethal, like I did in one game. You can do its cost over 2 turns, which is also powerful. It gives you flexibility on when to pay for it. The only downside is that it can sometimes take board space, which can sometimes present problems before a Cerberus or Gensetsu turn. But other than that, it's a great card. Yeah, and Vuela is like an optional pick. A lot of lists run 0 per more recently, and I actually might try some with less Vuela, but I mean, it's just a solid card, good stats, rush, and it has some flexible use for extra reach late game, which can come in handy. So yeah, good, powerful and flexible.
Yeah, I don't have much more to add to those.
So 2's enough.
Catalyst, yeah, Catalyst just a no-brainer. Actually, most of the remaining mode cards we're gonna talk about are basically no-brainers at 3x. There's just no.
You've got to.
You just include them in the deck.
It's more how you use these when we get onto these.
Yeah,
I think.
exactly.
We'll come on to that. Okay, I guess the card that's kind of like potentially the best card in the set. I'm starting to wonder because it's 2 or 3 of them seems to be popping up in just about every deck. Of course, in the early game, in a pinch, you can use it for removal. You can Evo on turn 5 and get rid of wide boards. And obviously, deeper into the game, you can use it for Super Evo to gain health. What made you put this in, Barric? You put 2 copies. Why 2 copies in this? Is it just that good a card? It just needs to go in everything, or was there a specific purpose in this?
Yeah, within like 2 or 3 days of the set, at first I didn't have any Guild Analyse, but I was losing to it a lot, and I'm like, this card's pretty good. I should craft some, so I made 2, put it in all the decks I was playing with, and I just realized, wow, this is like a very versatile and powerful card. The floor of it, like you're saying, like in a pinch, you use it early game removal. I mean, early game removal, the worst this card is it's Dark Side for 3 PP, but it also leaves a 0/3 body, which is essentially like 3 damage. Your opponent has to swing at that and not your face. Otherwise, you have a body up that you can do things with the next turn.
Yeah,
that's its worst. That's the absolute worst.
Yeah.
On an Evo, it's killing between 1 and 3 things, because you can do the -2 on play, you do the -2 on Evo, so it potentially can kill two health things, and then it leaves a 2/5 on itself, or you can target itself with a second Evo trigger, because that can target anything and not another unit.
It's really good against Sword on like turn 5, isn't it, to Evo, because you can kill like 3 2-health bodies, 2 2-health bodies, and then 3 2-health bodies in total. Yeah, so really good against in that sort of mid game kind of like against the kind of go wide boards. It's just so flexible, isn't it? And obviously, we haven't even said the obvious thing, which is if you've both got 10 play points, then this gives you Sweetness of Veracity, which is deal 5 damage to an enemy follower and the enemy leader. So it gives you burn essentially, which we've built which you guys have built into this deck with the mummy and the serpents and stuff as well. So it's just so flexible, isn't it?
Yeah, ranked. I have to say that I first ran 1 Guild Analyse, and I ran into so many loot swords that I had to just bump it into 2.
Yeah,
it's just at 2 you have enough. Generally, you have enough healing to survive into Serb healing, and at that point you're usually good. But usually it goes to that versus loot sword that you just wait with Guild Analyse in hand until they buff their Super Evo, and then you just buff Guild Analyse and Super Evo and heal it all back.
Yeah.
Because you can just buff with Castle and Dark Side and Vuela. Guild Analyse goes just super healing.
Yeah.
Abyss.
So the devotee of entwining, we've already talked about, Barric, and that flexibility to be an Apollo or to kind of go really tall, which we'll come back to in the gameplay, because you did that a few times where you proactively evolved this and made it a 7/7, and I thought that was really cool to see. So I'm sure we'll chat about that in the gameplay. Cards, 2 new mode cards we haven't talked about yet is Screaming and Loathing and the Supplicant. So the Screaming and Loathing, first of all, 3 copies.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, yeah. Like all the high-end mode cards are certainly 3-0s no-brainer. Like you need them to keep fueling your Shamnacha Fate. And also Screaming and Loathing in particular is good in multiples, because one of its modes is draw itself, seeming that there's no other 3-cost spells in Abyss unless you're running Terrific Tidings, which you wouldn't want to because this is strictly better. So yeah, this thing is really an all-star for its flexibility and power. Once again, those words are gonna be themes of the day. And yeah, it does a lot for you. It kills above rate. It can draw 2 cards. It can do any one of its things for 2 play points essentially.
The deck thinning's really good. The only thing I noticed in your quarterfinal, semi-final, and final, the only I don't know if I want to call it a downside, but if you need a tempo game plan, then it's not the right card, right? Like you were playing Devotee into Supplicant, right, for the tempo, for example, against Rune, where you're trying to put pressure on, whereas actually Screaming Loathing would be not a good play on 3 particularly in that matchup. Is that right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Versus Rune, you're playing this deck very differently. You're not playing for your in-game as much. You're playing to tempo them out and force their evolves. So you want to be dropping threats.
And then you've got the go on Targuil.
I'd like to say, Screaming Loathing, there's also one specific psychological effect about it. If they see you played once, they might not want to play some drop they would otherwise play because they know you have it again.
That's a good point. Yeah, they're going to try and play around it now. All of a sudden, it might alter their game plan. Yeah, really good point.
Yeah.
And Supplicant's just I feel like the 4-drop slot in the game is fairly weak actually right now, especially where you don't need to evo. Like you don't need to evo this card, right? And it's still a 4/4 that can deal 3 damage, so it's a great tempo play, and really fills the curve out. And then looking at the rest of the deck, you've kind of got things that are well known to us: the Jinsetsu, Cerberus, Odin, and Gravy. Barric, talk to us a little bit about the one-of choice for the Gravy and Odin, and then maybe listeners are less familiar with these two. And these two, I have to say, these are the cards that confuse me most about the deck, just in terms of the flexibility of decision-making. So maybe talk a little bit about ways in which you use these two.
Yeah, sure. So the one-of choices was for Argavi. It kind of is back to the tournament open list thing with Rage of Serpents. Argavi is like very well known to the community after mid-range Abyss's success in season 2. A lot of people are kind of used to trying to play around his clear around Abyss's turn 5 or 4 with the extra play point. So having one in the list means that your opponent will have to play around, particularly like Loot Sword or the Mirror, other board-based matchups. They will want to not play into Argavi as much, and Argavi is one of the ways to clear an Angrea efficiently without having to spend evos or risk RNG luck, because the column is spawned after Anne, so it will do all the 7 damage, enough to kill Anne first. So that's pretty good as that silver bullet.
And it's still not the worst evo option versus Angrea either, because you get 3 face damage.
Yeah, that's a good point against Rune when you're trying to be the beatdown. It's not a bad evo target, is it? Yeah, very good.
Yeah. And then Odin, I only have 2 Serbs on the ladder. I was just playing 2 Serb and 1 other top end card. So I was tinkering around between Odin and Medusa. I'm very used to playing Odin. It's a pretty the lines are pretty clear, and it can help you push lethal through wards on your mid game plan, which Rule and Val can't do because you either get Storm or extra to clear. So Odin kind of gives you some flexibility in finding lethal lines. He is also the flexibility of banishing anything. It still comes up, particularly against Crest is much more popular now, so they can leave valuable amulets like a Chalice. That's a very high one to try to snipe with your Odin in that matchup. Or even the Tim. Wilbert for sure. That's a good one to use him on.
Godstaff against Forest.
Is one of your outs, or at least a way to slow down Roach for sure, is killing their God Staff. So it's once again, a flexible, powerful card that I like. In hindsight, I didn't exactly know how the matchup spread for the finals would look like, but if I knew that I would have to be playing mode against a lot of Rune in particular, Medusa is maybe better in the slot, because that Medusa deals with the Norman boards very easily and does a lot of Odin in the mid game, a lot of Odin's job before you're trying to push for lethal. It's a little bit of a slower choice though, and I did try to tune this a little bit to be more aggressive.
Targuil, do you run 1 or 2 copies of Medusa on ladder?
1.
1, yeah.
And it's usually mostly for the Rune matchup, just for Norman, or almost exclusively. It can clear some other parts too, but versus Rune, I actually have started to keep it in my mulligan against Rune.
Yeah, wow.
Just so I have it against Norman, because I don't want to be caught against double wars with input board.
Well, we're gonna see in the gameplay just how horrible that Norman play is for this deck and how hard it is to deal with. So that Medusa definitely helps. And I actually put a Medusa in my version and played a few games on ladder today, and it saved my bacon several times. So okay, and then maybe talk to us a bit about these guys then, Congruent and Ruel, because these are very flexible cards. Let's go on Congruent first.
Congregant is maybe like the all-star of the deck, like, and it's probably gonna be the all-star of a lot of Abyss decks going forward, even not Mo, because it's flexible and powerful even if you don't double its abilities, and its Super Evo lets you double its abilities kind of anyways. So yeah, you can either get 8/8 of stats and rush, 8/8 of stats and ward. And then you can get a 6/6 too. You're usually not picking the third mode unless you already have other copies of it on the board though. So, on 5, it's already like an above rate play for it doesn't cost any evos to get like 8/8 of rush of stats. So that's like very good in the game. And the ward is good because it's 4 HP ward, which is blocking Albert. It's 2 of them, so it's definitely blocking Albert, among other things. 2 wards is also blocking Odin. And then it gets even more crazy when you super evo it. You get a double your mode selection. So now you can summon a copy and give them +2. So now you have a 9/9 and a 6/6 because of the Super Evo buff on the first one you selected. Or you can make 2 copies of them and Super Evo one of them. So a 7/7, 2 4/4s, and those 4/4s can both have rush, or you can have 1 rush, 1 ward to protect the rush that is like maybe at low HP after a trade.
So if you go 1 rush and 1 ward, that means the original one would have rush and ward, right? And then the other 2, the copies, if you like, 1 would be rush, 1 would be ward. If you super evo it. Yeah. Okay.
And before Shamnacha is active, the original one is going to have rush anyway because you like evoed it or super evoed it rather. But yeah, that's particularly useful when once you have Shamnacha active, you're picking 2 modes on each of the fanfare and the super evo. So if you were super evo it with Shamnacha active, you get 4 selections, and that's where it gets really bonkers. And so yeah, late game, just dropping 2 of these with Shamnacha active, unless the opponent has like a hard wipe like Chalice, like there's very little that anyone can do to clear like a bunch of 8/8s and 6/6s. Even just getting 1 off with a super evo without Shamnacha active, like getting a 9/9 and a 6/6 wall against Loot Sword is gonna stop them. Actually, I'd probably do a 7/7 and 2 4/4, so Albert can't clear all of them.
So guys, again, competent players who will follow all this, but if you're fairly new to this, remember the Shamnacha is the card that on countdown 10 basically allows you to play 2 modes, an extra mode each time, right? So here where it says select a mode to activate, you'd be selecting 2 modes, and then if you super evo, you get to select another 2 modes. So you've selected 4 of these 3 options, haven't you? Which is just insane. That is crazy.
Yeah, and one overlooked thing might be that if you have a Shamnacha already active and play this, and if you summon, choose 1 and 2, so you summon the rush and ward, then you super evo the one without ward and summon another rush and give +2/+2, then you have the super evoed one behind 2 wards, and it can be directly even attacked, and it's behind the 2 6/6 boards.
Oh, all right, yeah, of course, because these are copies. So which one you choose to super evo doesn't have to be the original one. So what you're saying is the big super evo is you make it so that they wait. How does that have not have ward? I'm confused.
Because when you have 2 modes, you give it and this, so they don't all get both.
Yeah.
So you have 1 with rush and ward, 1 with rush, and 1 with ward after you just play it. Then the 1 with rush, you give it rush again, and summon another with rush, then give it all +2/+2.
So the Super Evo one, you only give rush and +2/+2, and
Yeah,
therefore
you
that's the
don't
only
give
one
it
that doesn't
warn,
have warn
and
and
you
can't be
don't.
attacked back. That's
Yeah.
genius. That's genius. I love that. That's brilliant. That's scary as well, because it's a bit like that Norman effect, isn't it? When Norman's sitting there, this giant body, but you can't get to it because of the two
Yeah,
free
the
drops.
same thing can
Exactly.
also work if you play 2 of these at 10, because these cost 5. You might overlook that you can actually play 2 of these at 10.
Oh my god, that's crazy. Yeah, you can only do the Super Evo with one once in a turn, but
Yeah,
but
then you
still,
can
that's
hide the Super Evo one behind wards even
oh my god,
without
that
SAM activation.
that is disgusting. That is absolutely disgusting. Okay, I've not been getting anywhere near the kind of playability and value that you can get from this. And then the other card was the new Ruel and Valnarik. Yeah, I mean, is this again just the flexibility of 15 worth of 3 lots of 5/5s that can essentially rush, or 2 of them can rush, or essentially the more storm damage, isn't it? Is it 8 with Super Evo? If your wings of desire.
I mean, powerful and flexible. Like I mean, most of the time you're using the Scream Diffusion, I would say, unless you're fighting decks where you have to do the OTK combo, which I don't think I did a single time in this tournament because I didn't play super long games with Shamnatch active against Cresthaven. But yeah, the Scream Diffusion is the primary mode you'll see a lot, and it's giving you 7 PP. You've got 15 on stats on board. 10 of it has rush. That's a better rate than Kuon, and Kuon is like a very powerful card at 7 already. So yeah, you have more stats and more rush power than Kuon. And you can still Evo or Super Evo the original one that doesn't have rush. So you can actually have with a Super Evo, you can have 17 or 18 of attacking power on board for 7 PP. So it's just an incredibly efficient card. It's going to force a response. You try to chain this right after your Congregant of Entwining turn. So the opponent has to answer board after board, and then if you can follow up a three wide rule Val turn with Cerberus, you're going to definitely push some damage, which I did a little bit in this tournament. And then late game, or just if you're already very aggressive and got electrical low, it has flexibility of being 5 damage for 7, which is 1 more than Odin, providing there's no wards in the way. And with Shamnatch active, you can get both of these abilities at once, and you kind of save these cards. So versus Cresthaven, this is a strategy you do for a long game. You play some rule vows, you save the token cards they make, and then you play them later with another rule vow to push 10 or 15 storm damage for essentially 0 PP.
Does Wings of Desire does only select one though, doesn't it? Only give storm to one of them.
You
Yeah,
have
you have to. Yeah, you have to play 3 of these, 2 prior, and choose the wings.
Oh, okay.
And then have Sham activated the last one and select both. Then you can just play them all.
So that's a very rare 1-turn kill. But I guess on turn 10, you can still play one of these, and you can still fit in a dark side and the one from the castle to give +1/1, right? So for standard 10, you can essentially do 8, 9, 10, 11 damage, right?
Yeah, you can get you can get more than the PP rate and damage, just like Kuon. So yeah, it's essentially like Mode Abyss's Kuon. It's an incredibly good card that you don't necessarily mulligan for, but you're not upset seeing it in your hand at any point in the game, usually.
And, oh, sorry, go on, Targuil.
So, yeah, usually it's just good face burn. Sometimes in some matchups, the birds you're gonna do ain't gonna last, and you can just do this at 7 for face and then finish with Serp. They almost have to commit to healing if they've taken any damage prior.
Yeah, amazing.
Survive, and yeah, it just fits the curve really well with Cerberus.
Of course, going into Cerberus next turn, giving the +1s on anything that's left over. So Cerberus is a pretty known quantity. Do you guys have anything you want to say about Jinsetsu and Yuzuki, just because it is a mode card, so it has actually got some extra, I guess, maybe some extra thought process because of mode? I mean, obviously the big one is if you've met your what's he called, Shamnacha, that you can actually get both of these off, which is just devastating, right? But anything else you want to add?
I mean, this card's a one-man army or one-man board clear. It's a ridiculous value in this game, honestly. I mean, it was a very frustrating card to play against in Season 2, and it is even more frustrating to play against, I imagine, when both modes are activated. I mean, yeah, just after your entire game of already putting down Congregant and Rule Val and Cerberus boards, if your opponent's probably does not have the clear left for your Fox board with a Kensetsu turn, or if you have the Sham Notch activated, it just is going to wipe any Kuon board, it's going to wipe any Sword board, it's going to wipe any Mirror board. I mean, they're critical in the mirrors to trade with once you have double modes. You definitely need them in the mirror to save for the double mode play. But, I mean, yeah, it's going to either save you the board back or create a board or both, which are all things that you want to be doing late game.
Yeah, and the 4 heal from it can't be understated either against loot.
Yeah.
It's significant. If you heal with Serb and you made it to 9 and you have few of these in hand, and even if they have one follower on board, you can just kill it and heal 4 and put a big body. Loot will run out of gas really quick.
Yeah. Yeah. What other healing do we have? So we have this, because that's important against loot sword, isn't it? So we've got this.
There's
What-
a lot
Yeah,
of healing in this deck.
there's a lot.
Oh, we've got the Gilden Elise, right? That's the big one.
Illnally,
Supplicant.
Supplicant,
Supplicant. What's the other one?
Serb can heal 6.
Oh, Sarah, of course, yeah, which you did. You did this in some of the games, yeah. And we're going to get into the gameplay with this one, guys. If you're listening to this, if you've got any questions, then do let me know in the comments. We're taking our time with the decks here. I do want this to be a masterclass. I want you to be able to pick the brains of top players who are doing well in tournaments. That's kind of the purpose of this video. So what we're going to do now is take a look at I'll get any final thoughts from you guys on this, and then we'll take a look at the Izudia Control, and then we'll get into the games. So yeah, any final comments, anything you think that people really need to know about this deck before we move on?
Yeah, so I can start. So I think one mistake people often make is try to rush the SAM activation no matter what.
They rush the what, sorry?
SAM activation, the modes.
Oh, okay.
Rush the mode cards. Sometimes you just basically ignore the SAM that's altogether and just play good mid-range Abyss.
Yeah, and this deck has got that kind of play line, right, where you can start with Ghastly Soiree and you can kind of work through it and just play. You don't necessarily need the mode element to work at all. Odin into Cerberus, you win. Yeah.
Obviously, some matchups are more suited for that than others, but your mulligan also and early draws also matter. If you get good mode cards, it might be worth it almost always to just rush the Sham Nacha against everything except loot.
Well, I'm going to ask you quickly then, because I didn't know how to do this in the gameplay section, but maybe we'll just do it here to wrap up the kind of this section. Is just about mulligans, and I'm not going to go through every deck, but maybe the kind of tier 1 stuff. So Rune, Sword, and Cresthaven. Let's just talk about that. So against Rune, what are we looking for in the mulligan?
I would look for Mummy as a 2-drop to play on curve. Soiree is good if you're going first. It can be. Definitely the primary targets are Devotee and Supplicant, though, especially if you're going second. I would probably, if I had an earlier gameplay, like a Castle or a Devotee or Supplicant, I'd probably take Aragavi as well. Castle's not bad either if you can draw into other stuff plays later on, but ideally you do want to be hitting and curve out your followers.
So you're looking for board presence, aren't you? And I remember you two were talking in our guild chat about even playing Sam Natcher vanilla on 2, right? Just to get the 2/2 body down.
Yeah, I don't think I wouldn't keep Shamnotcher in the mole, but if I draw her from mole cards, I would probably play her on turn 2 against most rune lists.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm on the same mind about the Devotee and Supplicant are really strong, especially going second when you get to evoke them first before anything big comes down. If they can't remove it, they're taking big hit to the face.
And then against Sword? Mulligan?
I would still want board. Going second, removal can be actually more important because they're getting to play first. So like Dark Side and Screaming and Loathing is fine going second. Going first.
Yeah. I think Barric if Barric's just...
Well, probably take Aragavi, especially because Sword runs Zirconia again now. You don't really want... if I had other things, I wouldn't necessarily throw away a castle, but Castle's not as great because you want to be playing a board and not drawing and not letting them get ahead.
So neither of you mentioned Congregant. You wouldn't really keep that in a mulligan then, as that kind of turn 5 comeback mechanic.
If my hand is Mummy, Devotee, Supplicant, Congregant, I'm keeping that because it's a curve out. But if I don't have the other cards I mentioned, I'll be tossing back Congregant. It's a good thing you can keep it if your other stuff is already there.
Yeah.
Against Sword, I probably would keep it if I had early game, particularly because it is how you're going to survive after their Censero turn. You don't really want to play it on 5 though, unless you have 2 in your hand, because you do want to be saving 1 to Super Evo it after they play Censero. So you it's a little risky holding 1 because it's kind of like a dead card until you're waiting for that moment to play it.
Yeah, Aragabi is definitely keep versus Loot and Devotee, Supplicant, basically everything that can deal with the board.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah.
Killenly is 1 copy, skip 2. I wouldn't keep the second one.
Yeah, that's a good keep against Sword, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, and then last is the obviously new Crest Haven, which is pretty meta right now. So what are you keeping against Crest?
Crest is a little trickier. It might be the worst matchup for Mode Abyss from the top decks, particularly if you both have kind of mediocre draws. I probably would want Castle for sure, Devotee and Supplicant. It'd be good if you can curve out threats that they don't have answers to. So Congregant could be a keep with an early game providing as well. You don't need like removal, so you don't really need Dark Side. You don't need as much. It's not as good of a proactive body against them. Screaming and Loathing is actually good going first, second, because if you have a 2-drop, you'd like to put Mummy down on 2 or your Skeleton from Soiree, and then they drop their Grimnir, which they're probably going to play on 3. You can clear that with Screaming and Loathing and keep fueling your later game plays. That's what I would say.
And what about Odin? Would you keep him in that match?
Let's see. Versus Crest, they have Wilbert, so you could keep him if you had other early plays. I wouldn't keep him with nothing else in hand. That is good. But if he's like a conditional keep if you have other playables. And I probably would also keep Shamnacha to not play her early, but to save her for the mode, because Crest, unless you get some like very aggressive start, if you do have to go to the mid to late game versus them, you're going to need the double mode activations to have a fighting chance.
Yeah. So against Crest, I think there's 2 very different lines of play. You can overall strategies you can go for. Either you go hyper aggro and just push the damage in ignore mode and win fast by Serb at last. You just rush mode and try to grind them out. It's possible to grind even Crest out with all the board presence you can push with Congregant, Rulnai, and Twins.
Which do you think is preferable then? The kind of beat down or the grind out approach?
From my personal experience, I think rushing them down.
Yeah. And I think that's what you tried,
especially
Barric,
if you're going second and you can evo something nice so that they can answer.
Okie dokie. Right, so your other deck then, Barric, was the Izudia Control, and this is the deck that I think a lot of people got very excited about, including the commentators. I know Igni was super pleased that someone was representing Izudia Control. Talk us through this pick then, and just give us a kind of overview of your card selection.
Yeah, so still relatively recent to playing the deck around. I'm sure. I mean, I kind of already wanted to change it like the day before the tournament, but I already locked it in, so I kind of been playing the same thing. just to keep the practice in, but I'm definitely making changes to it afterwards. But the list I wanted to bring was really just like testing out a lot of the cards available still. Also the kind of the one of mentality for the open list tournament, make people have things to play around potentially. That's why I have one of Ambush, one Lily, one Supplicant, and one Grimnir, although one Grimnir is kind of standard anyways. But yeah, essentially you want all of your cards to be like efficient removal or card draw until you get Izudia in your late game bombs. It's kind of pretty standard like control mentality ideology. And Forest has a lot of good cards for this. A lot of people got another benefit of bringing this deck. Not only was the deck itself not very well known, but a lot of the cards in Forest weren't very well known, it seems, because people just play Roach. Like you see Forest and you're like 99% certain it's going to be a Roach player or maybe a Tempo Forest player. But until recently, this deck was like a meme deck, really. Like people thought it was like a Rose Queen tier, maybe slightly better. But yeah, it's versus most of the decks in the format, it's got a decent chance versus some it absolutely rolls them, like Crest and Loot. It's got some particularly bad matchups, or maybe some less bad than I thought. I thought Rune was very bad, especially on ladder, but the tournament performance made me think maybe there's a better shot, at least with different ways to play it in the Rune matchup. There might be better chances of winning. Versus Dragon, it can be rough if they're ramping out fast.
I think Dragon's the worst matchup for it. Yeah.
And well, really, what else is there? Oh, I kind of thought Roach is bad too because they have a 1-turn window where they have a pretty good shot to kill you. But if they miss that, if they're like a little bit delayed, then as soon as you drop Congregant, it's kind of GG.
Yeah, you play Congruent against Roach, yeah, and they just can't.
I was seeing some discussion of that in the Discord Forest chat about how actually Roach doesn't think they have a great shot against Izudia, which I'll have to maybe play more of that matchup and see how to force them into missing their turn 8 kill. But yeah, I think it's overall pretty strong, and it's got a lot of flexible tools. So I mean, I've played a lot of Control in Hearthstone, a lot of Grindier. Then like goes into like a combo index, so like the general play pattern was pretty familiar. And I do like the Forest cards. I'm not a Roach player, but I have like toying around with that in unranked over the past few seasons. I played a little bit of Rose Queen on unranked just for fun, and this seemed like a much more viable version that I was happy to enjoy. So getting into the list, the 1-drop slot, I use a lot of the information on like the online card selection distribution sites. Like there's a SV Labo, I think it's a Japanese website. I kind of look at that almost daily, kind of see the pick rate changes for different cards, and I see that usually only like 4 to 6 1-drops are run in Izudia that was performing in Grandmaster and on win streaks. Usually they use Bugalort and Fairy Convocation. Convocations seem pretty important to just fuel the early combo cards like Ambush and Lily and Bestial Swipe, as well as having some hand size, so Glade is kind of full power when you use him on your Evo turn. Bug Alert is a versatile card. It's kind of like decent early game removal to bounce a Lily. It can bounce your later game units for repeat fanfare value, which is pretty impactful when we get to those.
Yeah, I feel like Bug Alert is a because I've played quite a bit of this as well, and funnily enough, we didn't talk too much about it, but I was 2 cards different to your deck, I think 2 or 3, and I feel like Bug Alert is a low-key MVP of this deck, especially when you think about the different win conditions. You know, the ability to potentially just play Izudia on 9, for example, and Bug Alert him, so you've already got your second one in play. Obviously, when we talk about the alternative win cons, you know, the Bug Alert in Deepwood or Bug Alert in Congruent, you know, you can Bug Alert the weakest Congruent, right? So then you can play it again. Obviously, the anti-AoE with Cruel, Bug Alert in that. There's just so many good choices for Bug Alert in this deck, I think.
Yeah, honestly, Bug Alert might be something I bump up to 3 in my testing and go down on Fairy Convocation by 1. I'll have to play around with that. Ambush is just a one of. It was like a kind of like a filler card that is efficient removal. So when you have a combo active, you can play it out and not increase your hand size. A lot of the earlier cards, like Bug Alert, is hand neutral. Fairy makes your hand size increase. Ambush, sometimes you want something to play for 1 PP to reduce your hand size to not burn after a Glade turn. That's useful. I mean, it's just like tech. It's something I've just been testing, and it's worked out enough. You're not unhappy to see it very often. Carbuncle is pretty essential to get the accelerated combo. Even against Crest, while it is like a quote-unquote easy matchup, they do race you relatively well with their late game burn power. if you don't have a lot of fairy beasts up, and if they're clearing your congregant boards efficiently, you are on a clock, so getting a turn earlier Izudia kill is impactful. Also, the opponent doesn't know if you have Carbuncle in your hand, so they might be playing around your Izudia kill on the turn after. They might think they have like one more turn to kill you, and then you just kill an open list format. Now they're definitely, if I don't have Carbuncle, they might be trying to make less effective plays 2 turns earlier to my kill that they're anticipating. So yeah, it's good for the mind games, and it's a bounce. So I have 2 of them because early game, if I see one, I don't want to break my hand, I can use it for some bounce value, and still have a shot of drawing the second one later. Or you can like fuse it or discard it. We'll get to those as well, to get rid of it if you don't need it, because you have 2. But I like 2. Fairy Fencer is just a curve filler, early proactive drop against like Sword, against Mode. It can even it's fine playing out against like Rune or Haven early because it makes them like commit to the board a little more. If it's a little better on ladder because people might think like you're Tempo Forest. In an open list, they might actually not even care out a 2/2 very much. They probably shouldn't, which is why I only have 2, not 3. But it's giving you a fairy too, so combo fuel. Lily, a 1 of, I might actually make her to a 2 of or get more supplicants because she's really good actually at clearing Norman boards or helping you do so. She's really good at clearing tall targets if you don't have Erwin or before that turn. Like if they play something big on turn 5 or 6 before you can play Erwin, it's difficult to kill if you don't have a Glade as well. And she draws you a card. It's useful. You always wanting to draw a card so you get closer to having your combo in hand. So yeah, versatile, could go to a 2 of. I like that card. Garden's Allure, very powerful card. I think it's without Garden's Allure and without Hamlet, I think Izudia is not playable.
Yeah, I agree.
Garden's Allure, it's known for like clearing your hand so you don't overdraw, which is important because you don't want to overdraw your key pieces, but it's also like card draw for 2 people. It's like discard a card, which is fuse it to your hand, So it's discard a card, 2 PP, draw 2 cards. That's like a good rate in a card game. For card selection and filtering, especially when we'll get to later, we have a lot of copies of clunky stuff that we want to see 1 or 2 of. We don't need 3 of, but we run 3 of, so we always see them. And the extra copies, like 3 Deepwood Fairy Beasts, like you're probably not playing 3 in most matchups. You're going to fuse 1 or 2 extra to the Garden's Allure and turn them into more useful cards. So I guess we'll just go on and talk about Hamlet on killing.
Why only 2 Garden Allure then, given what you just said?
That's because that's what I registered with after, like, that was one of the cards, like, the next day before the tournament. I was like, I should go up to 3. I probably will be running 3 after this. It's just that good. At first, I thought, like, you might want to do some more proactive stuff on turn 2 or later, but, like, you don't need to. Your clear mid-game is already so good that, like, Fairy Fencer honestly could maybe get cut to a 1 of. Although, ladder is different than tournament. So, on tournament, this deck was definitely more focused on the OTK side of things. And the control than trying to like tempo out or like confuse the opponent. Like I want to do more on ladder. But yeah, 3-0 for Garden's Allure probably going forward. And then get back to Hamlet, which is definitely always a 3-0. This is probably the best card for Forest of the set, discounting win cons.
Yeah.
It's discard a card, draw 2 cards, just like Garden's Allure, but it's also a thing. I guess it's not a unit, it's not a follower, but it's an amulet. So something on the field that can be bounced with like Bug Alert or Carbuncle.
Another Bug Alert target, right? Everything you've just said about how good Garden Allure and Hamlet is in this deck, the fact that you can Bug Alert it and do it again, which you can't do with Garden Allure, is phenomenal, right?
I might do that in some of my games. I definitely did it in some of the Swiss games, and I do that on ladder frequently because you're just going to dig through more of your deck to find your Izudia if you don't have him, or find your Deepwood Fairy against Sword, or find your Supplicant against Rune. It's helping you dig. This deck has a ton of draw. Oftentimes, I'm not that far behind in cards in deck that Rune is with all their digging. And it's like usually the drawback of card draw in card games is like a tempo loss. Like you're spending play points to draw cards, but not putting anything on board. Well, this is putting something on board that is removal, 2 damage, essentially, and that can either be used this turn, or if they don't have anything, you can save it for a later turn. So now you've card drawn, and you have like a tempo positive turn later on with this like banked removal on board that you're presenting. So that's super efficient, super helpful for clearing later boards. Yeah, so Bestial Swipe, back to the 2 drops. That's just 4 damage for 2 PP, excellent rate. It even has a line of text on it that says draw a card, which is almost always good on card games. Combo 3, it's a pretty low barrier to entry with fairies in the deck and other cheap cards. It is probably the argument to run some cheap cards to fuel the combo, but even just like playing without combo is fine. You're killing something large, you're comboing it with like your AoE. It's like you Cruel, you kill the 2/2 on the Zirconia, and then you Bestial Swipe to finish off the Zirconia herself. Very good. You definitely want to see this in most openers against like decks you expect to put down bodies soon.
Yeah. It's real good, isn't it? I mean, just combining like this with a couple of fairies, you deal with a 6 health body. You know, it's for very cheap. You can suddenly deal with big things. I think it's a good bronze card that's been added. It's very nice.
Yeah. I won't say too much about Gil Elise because we talked about her in the other deck. She kind of does pretty much the same things here. Removal. More often, actually, you're using her early and mid game for like just heal and removal. You don't need her spell to kill them because you have Izudia. Very infrequently, you might like have the Izudia spell, but not have your second Izudia, and then late game you play Gil Elise to play her spell too. And if for some reason the opponent is like 11 or less health, then you kill them with her spell plus the Izudia spell. But she's mostly actually just for like a healing and removal. Very good for that in this deck. Good healing before Deepwood Fairy Beast.
And that's phenomenally important, right, in this deck, because this whole deck is about controlling, surviving to get the combo. So in many ways, the heal element of Gil Elise, like we don't need to play this on turn 10. We don't need the late game burn from Gil Elise because we've got the insta kill from Izudia, right? So but we definitely need the heal. And obviously, as you said, we've got Deepwood Fairy, but this card is much more flexible. We can play it early, we can play it for cheaper, we can combine it. We could play this, we could play 2 of them at once, right? So one play, for example, on turn 7 is you could play Gil Elise, the other one into Gil Elise, so you get more heal, and then you bounce the 7th play point, you bounce one of the Gil Elises back to hand, so you can then Evo or Super Evo again. So there really is like not unlimited heal, but there's a lot of heal when you think through. And I think one of the things, Barric, we should mention as well, because again, the commentators has completely missed this, particularly in the game that you played against Sword, which we're going to get onto. But I think people need to understand that there are 2 win cons, 2 major win cons. There's probably more, but there's 2 major win cons with this deck, and everybody's very focused on the Izudia win con. But when you're playing against Sword, when you're playing against the aggro, the correct win con is actually to ignore Izudia and just outgrind them, right? And you can do that by every time they play, you know, Sincero or their big burn play, their Odin play or anything like that, you just play one of the heal options that we just said, like Deepwood, and bounce it with Bug, or you play the Gil Elise that we talked about. And then basically what will happen, and particularly with Loot Sword, is they run out of resources really, really quick, and then you've got all these bombs and these wards and everything, and you just outvalue them, and you just win on board, right? And you had the perfect hand for that. It made me laugh because they were saying, people were saying in chat, he's bricked, he hasn't found his Izudia, and I was thinking, he's got the perfect hand for this matchup.
I would have loved there. I did it actually, I think earlier that day or the other day in like a ranked practice game I was on, is I was against Loot Sword, and I was like fusing away my Izudias into my Guardians of Lore to like dig for my congregant instead. And I would have loved to have fused my Izudia on screen and then seen the reaction to that. He just lost his wink, a second misplay. No,
I know. Well, and that's why I think it's worth highlighting. This is a masterclass that's a very real win con. These decks that go all in on the burn, but they haven't actually got the card draw, and they can't play into a long game like Loot Sword. It's a very reliable way to win that game, right? You've got things like your Cruel and your Supplicant for dealing with their boards, and then that kind of like heal, and then the big wards in Erin and Congruent of Unkilling. You just close out the game really quite consistently with that approach, I think.
Yep. Finish going over the rest of the cards I haven't mentioned yet. Cruel, pretty useful in some matchups, not so useful in others. Yeah. Flexible, can be low powered if the AoE is not impactful, but it can be comboed with other things. Like the generic -2 is good against. It's kind of good against Norman boards if you have other minuses to combo it with to clear it. Supplicant is better for full clearing Norman boards, but it's very good against Sword for sure. Good against like aggro Abyss. Good against early Dragon plays. Decent against early mode plays if they haven't gone tall yet. And the chip heal is pretty impactful because it's ambush. You can just leave it on the field. You usually don't want to attack with it unless you're trading for value. This is a 1/3 body. You're like there's no reason to ever attack their face with it. You should never be attacking their face with a Cruel to take you out of ambush. That's for sure. Because just the 1/3 can become down useful later down the line to help you trade. Every time you play another card that minuses it, you're going to heal 1 on your turn for the first time you do that. And you can bug alert it as a bug alert target and replay it value later on to save it for that. And like versus Crest, even it's just sitting there 3 HP. It's gonna the Crest burn has to hit that before it hits your face. So it's like you save you 3 HP against Cresthaven unless they like waste their Marwyn spell. I think someone did that. Someone used their Marwyn spell on like my 1/3 Cruel and my 1/1 out. Like that's not. Thanks for using like your powerful removal on my 1/3. So yeah, it's pretty good. A lot of the time it's like a fuse or discard against matchups. It's not as useful for. You have like late like Supplicant is sometimes like a better version of it, but it's a little more expensive. Glade, if you still have the Evo points for him, is kind of a better version of Cruel. But she's definitely very useful in some matchups and is flexible.
Very good against Sword, right? This is a big one. Yeah.
Good turn 4 play.
The other thing you haven't mentioned as well is just it's a very low key thing, but it's just the fact that say you've got Hamlet down and you play Cruel down, you've actually got like potentially 3 damage you can do that they can't really interact with. It's a small detail, but it can actually matter.
It can, yeah. What were you gonna say, Targuil?
Can I say something about using the heart removal on Cruel as Crest? I think as Crest, you really want to be doing damage to the face every turn with the Marmun Crest. So that 3 damage, that's 3 more damage, and I think it might be worth the heart removal.
I guess maybe. I mean, I'm fine with that because that means they have 1 less hard removal for Airwind or Congregant for my Izudia later when I play that. They have to spend a whole board wipe for that instead. But
when I'm thinking, I'm thinking I have to maximize the crest damage every turn to be able to raise the Izudia somehow.
Oh yeah, maybe certainly not. I haven't played Cresthaven, so maybe I don't know all their potential motivations, but. Ambush is a powerful effect just to have something leaving around. I mean, we don't see them anymore, but the ambush one in Haven, I kind of forgetting their name.
Ronavaro.
Yeah. That had its moment, its shine to be useful as ambush, and I think Cruel is a useful ambush thing.
It's
Glade.
not optimal answer either. There's for PP AoE that deals with Cruel too. That's what I wanted to say.
I think everyone knows Glade. It's played in all the Roach decks. Played in pretty much every Forest deck. You could run like a 2-2 split with Glade and Supplicant, which I might experiment with because Supplicant is better into Rune.
And do you find sometimes I like that actually, Barry, because I find that as great as Glade is in this deck, one of the problems this deck has is hand management because you do have so much that can draw, and I think sometimes Glade feels a bit dead. So maybe only having 2 of them could be good.
Yeah, I think one of the first changes I would make is change a Glade for a Guardian's Allure. You're fixing the hand size problem, and you're saving more Evo targets or saving more Evos for other targets. And Supplicant doesn't require any Evo to absolutely annihilate Norman boards. And with Super Evo, I actually realized this. Super Evo Supplicant annihilates almost all Congregant Moda boards too, which is Moda Abyss is kind of a tricky matchup for Izudia if they have a strong mid game and we don't have like a quick OTK, mode can be kind of tricky. So more Supplicants will help against that too. It's kind of just like William without requiring spell boost with a cap of 3 or 6 if you super evo it. It's not a terrible card. And of course we have all that card selection in Guardians Allure and Hamlet. So if you don't need a Supplicant in the matchup, you just pitch it for better cards.
Exactly. And it's all about surviving. And this thing can help you survive. And that rune, the rune matchup probably gets significantly better if you've got 2 of these. Yeah, really interesting. Double airing gives you obviously hard removal and a big ward and 2 heal, which can be important as well. Triple Beast. Talk about this card.
Yeah, Triple Beast. I guess this was like a meme until like this set or something. People were like, "Oh, it's a terrible bronze card." And I mean, it's generally pretty bad in what most of Forest had to offer previously, but in a deck that just wants to survive until turn 11 or 12, heal 8 or 9 for 8 PP, cycle it. Because a lot of people haven't read that all the way. That it draws a card as well, so you're getting to heal the hand size that you have when you play it, not -1. So it cycles itself too. So it's not like it's not like a card negative. And it's still like a usable body, a 4/4. You can see about that for 7. I did that in a game to clear something. But you're usually taking it on like an off turn where your opponent has like burnt out, like sent an Odin at you or something, gotten you low. You just heal back more than the Odin dealt you and clear the Odin, either with Deepwood Fairy or like another 1 or 2 removal, or like a Hamlet that you had laying around on field. It's just very good. You're often not wanting to play 3 in a single game. It's something like you're pitching or fusing often, but like you definitely want to see 1 or 2 in like the Crest matches or the Loot Sword matches or the Aggro Abyss matches if you make it that long. Very good card.
So good against aggro. And you can Izudia, for example, on 8, and then you can Deepwood. And then obviously, once you've played Izudia, you're now looking for the second Izudia, right? And wanting to survive. What helps you do both those things? Oh, you play Deepwood on 9 with Bug Alert. You can heal, you draw. Then you can play it again on 10. You draw again looking for Izudia, and you heal again. So it's just almost tailor-made for this type of deck, right? And the other thing we mentioned earlier is just how hard hand management is. In other words, you very consistently have a full hand, right? Like you say, on 9 cards. So getting that maximum heal of 8 to 9 is pretty consistent actually in this deck. Which isn't necessarily the case in other forest builds. So yeah, really great card. And then we've got the brand new Congregant of Unkilling. Talk about this card.
Yeah, this card is pretty insane. I looked at it and I understood it on the spoilers and season, and I was kind of like, well, it's a good card, but I don't know where it's gonna be played in like Roach. Like even tempo, it's way too slow. I mean, Rose Queen, it seemed like cool, and then I guess the Izudia list were running it. And then when you actually play against it, like I played against it before I played it as a deck, I'm like, this thing is like really difficult to remove if you're not running like Chalice or another board wipe, hard board wipe. It's 20 rush attack for 9 PP with no Evo required, outscaling Amalia by almost 2x for just 1 more PP. All of them have ward. All of them have rush. You don't have to Evo or Sivo one of them to get the full value from all the stats you put out. And it's actually very neat, the flexibility of the HP, how you get one that's 6, 5, 4, 3, and 2 HP on board. The way you trade them is really important. Playing around what your opponent is going to respond to it with. So like if your opponent has Albert next turn, you're going to want to trade to leave as many, hopefully 3 or more with 3 or more HP. So Albert can't even full clear that with his attacks and AoE injury. Or like versus Rune, you'll want to keep the 2 ones above 5 HP. So, or above 4 HP rather, the 5 and 6 one, you want to leave those unscathed if possible so you can dodge the Sage of Light Teachings AoE. Or versus Haven, you know, they have Jean, that kind of going to kill the whole board unless you Evo one of them. But you can play around the 3 damage AoE or the 2 AoE Grimnir, depending on if they have Sivos left or not. So you can try to keep as many above whatever 3 or 2 HP. Yeah, it's a very good card to play. It feels like there's a lot of just intricacies in making the trades with it, and it's only 9 PP. So on turn 10, you can bounce one of them. I know you were saying that earlier with Bug Alert to just like play like effectively 9 congregants, or not 9,
or even sometimes just the
them.
next turn, right? Because there's no guarantee your opponent's going to clear all of them.
Yeah, if one got left around.
Yeah, hit face Bug Alert and do it again. Yeah,
not super common, but a possible lethal is if you did go for the Izudia, but you haven't found the second one, and they somehow leave some congregants on board. Like the Izudia spell still has 6 damage without him, so you can, if they leave like 3 congregants up, and then you just hit them for 6 with the Izudia spell, and they're dead. So it requires an answer, and it's very effective for 0 Evo input.
Yeah. Phenomenal new card indeed. And okay, so in terms of mulliganing, then we talked about Rune, against Sword, and against Crest for the last deck. What about with this one?
Yeah. So let's start with Crest, since that's probably the easiest one that this one is kind of brought to stomp. Crest, you're definitely looking for Izudia, and I would look for cards that draw more than 1 card. So Guardian's Allure and Hamlet of Unkilling and Glade. If I'm going second, I'll keep Glade because I can play them on 4. I'll keep Glade if I have earlier playables to answer their Marwyn as well. You can do that. But so like Hamlet, Guardian's Allure, Glade conditionally. with some of those provided, you can even keep like a fairy convocation or a fairy fencer just to put something out early as well. Although you're probably digging for Izudia and card draw. If nothing else good is in your hand. You don't need any of your late game bombs to keep. Analyse is not super important until the mid to late game for heal. Bestial Swipe, you could use it to answer the Grimnir, but it's you can also just like the Grimnir will just chip a little bit of damage before you can answer it later on and then heal it back up, so it's usually not an issue. So yeah, that would be for Crest. You'd also keep a Baby Carbuncle if you have one Izudia. I would probably do that to get the accelerated combo. I wouldn't keep Baby Carbuncle if I don't have any Izudia or any other draw pieces, but if you have one Izudia, I could keep a Baby Carbuncle.
Yeah.
Against Loot, totally different game plan. You want early drops and removal, so Bestial Swipe, Fencer, Convocation, Ambush.
Cruel.
Bug Alert if you have other things to bounce with it. Cruel, Analyse. If you have a 1 or 2 turn play, keeping Grimnir just for like the on curve free cost because the SVO can help clear a little bit later on. Hamlet is fine. Glade is, if you have other early cost stuff, Glade can be good.
Yeah.
Particularly if you're going first to answer the Zirconia turn, you probably want Glade more. I mean, second you probably want it as well, but
I feel like an early Glade early Glade's phenomenal in this deck, right? Because it's helping you do the clear, but it's also advancing your win con with the draw. So it's a phenomenal one to play on against the aggro.
You want to keep everything that's 5 or less PP except for Garden's Allure, Carbuncle, and then like Lily and Bug Alert. If you don't have anything to combo them with, you don't keep them. But everything else under 5 and under, I would keep. Generally.
And I feel like we didn't talk about it previously, but I think it's important to probably mention the importance of Grimnir in this deck because, it's actually one of the cards I'm wondering whether we should run 2 because we don't have as many combo pieces in the first 3-4 turns anyway. So just running, a ward that stops us getting hit down. But it's the importance actually of its crest. It's specifically in this build, right? Because, for example, we talked about how good Deepwood is, and we talked about the need to play Izudia on 8. The only weakness, I guess, with doing that is that if our opponent has got a wide board, these don't deal particularly well with that. And so the ability to kind of like play these on curve, but to super evo them and get the 2 AoE damage from the crest of the, what's it called? The Heavenly Gale, right? It can actually be really, really pivotal. And I've seen other people make sure they've got Hamlet down when they do that. So that sort of is like a mini halfway house to helping pick off smaller things. So I think it's just worth a mention that we do play these. I don't want to call them weaker big units, but I guess Deepwood is a little bit weaker in terms of interacting with the board. Similar thing with only its 4 damage with having Hamlet down. If you've got something big to clear, that the Hamlet extra 2 damage can really help the Deepwood to clear something big. So I think there's just an important little interaction there with those 2. What do you think?
Yeah, having extra clear on the turns that you can't do an AoE answer is important. I actually only have 1 Grimnir in my collection, so that's why I just have 1. You could try with 2. The crest is conditionally useful. Also, another bonus is like SVO and Cruel. Leave a SVO in ambush mode. Gives you that 2 AoE repeatedly.
Oh my god!
The only thing is that I'm often
Supplicant 2.
And against Sword, Grimnir is a little better against the board-based decks when you're not on the Izudia plan. If you are on the Izudia plan, you're usually wanting the SVO for Carbuncle, so then that really only gives you, and you win that turn, so you only get 1 SVO turn of value usually if they clear your SVO thing on their turn to get the Grimnir clear. So
that's true.
It's not like you're reaping a ton of free value from it, but it is conditionally very impactful. It can help combo with, like I said, the Cruel AoE or the Supplicant AoE or like SVO Glade. Well, actually, the order of that doesn't work out great, but you can SVO Glade for some extra clear if things are lined up properly. And yeah, conditionally can help with Deepwood and your Izudia turns. So you could try too.
Is there anything you mulligan differently against Crest? Because you talked about that being a good matchup.
Crest, we just went over that one.
Oh, did you say Crest? Sorry, for some reason thought you'd only.
Yeah, Rune is the last one.
Rune's the last one. Sorry, I'm getting confused. Yeah, Rune.
So Rune, I think, is generally a difficult matchup because it's like, without knowing their hand, it's either that they're going to play a bunch of like just powerful things on curve, like Angrea into Norman into Kuon, And that's actually probably like the more difficult line to deal with if we don't have great answers. But if they don't do that, then they're probably just fueling up for their turn 10 OTK with Kuon decalls or Kaida's climb. So without knowing what they're kind of like going for in their hand, it's difficult to know if you want to like run Izudia control, like to control their earlier plays and then win with Izudia later, or if you need to like turbo Izudia to hope to catch them off guard if they have had a bad hand on your turn 11. And in general, like I said before this tournament, I did not like my prospects of that matchup too much. I would probably keep like Fairy Fencer for early game, make them interact, make them spend that Stormy Blast. Probably you want card draw, so Glade and Glade is going to answer their Angrea. Supplicant, you probably keep that for sure against Norman. Garden's Allure, if you're feeling like you want to do the combo route, is good. It's a card draw to dig for Izudia. I would probably keep Izudia because the only way you are winning is through the Izudia combo. Now, whether you're going to do that quickly or slowly is kind of more so up to what the Rune player is often doing before you know what they've been played and have in their hand potentially. If some reason they do, if somehow you play like a board-based game and they do waste all their Evos early, then like you can beat them out with Congregant Training because they dropped a lot of their AoE. So that's a potential, but that's probably not a likely outcome. You really have to go for the best chance of winning is probably a Turbo Izudia OTK and hope they whiff on their turn 10 kill, or set up the board in a way to deny them a turn 10 kill by not leaving anything to trade the decalls in, or kill you with Hokkaido's Astaroth.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm very keen to get into some gameplay. Any final thoughts from you, Targuil, on this deck? I know this isn't one that you're as familiar with as you are with the Abyss one, but anything that we haven't talked about that you feel is worth adding before we jump in the gameplay?
Yeah, don't know how this is against decks I don't play, so I have played just Crescent mode this season, but I honestly kind of fear this deck. If this gets popular, I might be in some trouble.
You're quite scared.
Yeah.
You're running for the hills.
I'm not quite sure how to handle it yet.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's jump into some games then. So this is the quarterfinal. So guys, don't forget, Barric had gone through 10 rounds of Swiss. He'd gone through the play-ins, knockout stages, two rounds there, and now this is the last 8. So we're into the quarterfinal, and we're playing against Wag, who brought Haven Crest and pretty much typical spell boost rune. So first game is Haven Crest versus and actually what we'll do as well is I'm just gonna because I've muted the commentary so we can talk. Okay, so here we go. So this is your mulligan, Barric. For some reason, they got the cameras the wrong way around, by the way. So Barric, your hand is on the bottom, but for some reason, your face is on the top and Wag's face is on the bottom. I think they swap it around later on, but anyway. So yeah, talk to us about your mulligan here. Then it looks like you're going to get rid of Gilnalise and Ambush and keep Glade and Congruent.
Did I end up keeping Congregant here?
Sometimes,
No, you got rid of everything. There we go.
Yeah, here I was hard digging for an Izudia. I might have kept a Glade if I had something else earlier, but this is looking much better now. I drew an early play and I drew an Izudia, so I'm halfway to the win already. I just have to play things, answer their board, avoid taking crest damage, and I feel pretty confident from the get-go with Izudia in my hand. Yeah, they play Grimnir here, to be expected from... Well, they coined it out. So that is actually... That means they don't have turn 5 Wilbert, which is pretty good for me. Because Wilbert can be a little bit annoying to deal with. Let's see, turn 3, what am I doing here? I think I had a clear Grimnir with leaving some of my boards still up. Which... Do I just... I don't think I wanted a Fairy Ambush, because that would have been very card... That would have been kind of a card-for-card trade, I guess.
Yeah. By the way, either of you, if you want to like any point, just tell me to pause if you want to like talk about something if something stands out. But otherwise, just keep commentating over the top.
Yeah,
okay, so
crest hand it just plays itself. It's just 2, 3, 4, 5 curve when you coin it out, so it was quite clear. But yeah, it also means no Wilbert on 5.
So here I gotta save the ambush of above for the better clear on the 1/4.
Oh no, we got adverts. Oh no, I didn't think. Why didn't I didn't think about this when we were doing the video that we're gonna. I really need to pay for YouTube Premium. There we go.
Just use that. Look.
Oh boy, amateur.
So expecting their Marwyn on turn 5, or turn 4 rather. This is pretty fine for me because I have Lily in hand, which is going to be a Evo-less clear, and give me some things on board for. So I guess at this point I'm trying to leave as much stats on board as I can to soak up crest damage / make them commit to clearing my board, not building more crests. Oh, okay, so I do go for the Evo here to draw. Okay, so drawing cards is important. I don't have a lot of card draw in my hand. I don't have a lot of action for next turn, I guess. Cruel is not going to answer very much on their turn 5 play.
I think that was a very good Lily as well. Like, I don't have Lily in my deck. It's one of the key cards I was looking at. And that turn, I was thinking, it's quite awkward without Lily. I suppose you could have done it with a, like if you had the, what's the bear card that does 4 damage.
The swipe would have been fine.
Swipe would have been fine, right? Or what's the other one? The one drop that does two lots
Ambush.
of 2 damage. Yeah. So I suppose there are other ways. Because I was wondering, like, oh, am I gonna? But Lily does draw, doesn't it? So it keeps advancing your win con. I suppose that's the thing to consider there. And it leaves a board, right? To Targuil's point earlier about Crest wanting to, deal damage, and so having that body matters too.
Yeah, but they have the 5 trap, so it's just clear they're gonna play it. But of course, you don't know that. Maybe you could figure it out because they going the 3 trap out that they don't have Wilbert, but they have the 5 trap.
There's something that people might be curious about there, Barric, is what so you had 1 extra player point which you didn't use. So anything to say on that, right? Skipping the use of Fairy Convocation, for example, or deploying a wider board.
Oh yeah. Okay, so here's actually where I was thinking: do I spin the Fairy or do I open Fairy Convocation? And I do neither because my hand size here is 6, which is exactly what you want for a Glade turn. So if I draw a Glade next turn, I probably want to play him because I need some card draw. I have a weak turn 6.
There we go.
And this way with Glade, I don't overdraw. I have 8 cards in my hand.
You see, folks, this is why this is a masterclass. This is giving you the thought process, and that's probably something that people probably might, especially if you're new to the game, you might just look at that and go, well, why would you not open the Fairy Convocation? So that's really good.
Yeah, actually, was wondering that when I was watching this live.
Yeah.
Now I know.
Yeah.
I don't play Forest.
Because if you play this deck a lot, you will realize that one of the biggest problems is mismanaging hand size. It's really difficult sometimes. So that's really good thinking. Okay,
I learned from my mistakes on ladder. I would burn frequently from Glade turns. So I was trying to keep that in mind for this tournament in particular.
Yeah. So you play Are you playing Cruel here?
So I don't have a great answer to the 4/6, although I'm also confident I don't really need to answer the 4/6 immediately because they're not going to attack. The 4 attack is the same as 4 damage from their crest. So I just play a little bit of a board here, develop my hand, get that Fairy Convocation popped.
That's smart.
The
Using
Cruel
the thing
heals
against
1. Yeah, the Cruel heals 1. It makes it a little easier to clear that. And then it turns out this actually soaks up some of their resources this turn. I think this is where they use a Tauren. It hits the Cruel.
That was Targuil's point earlier, wasn't it? About always clearing
so
anyway.
Push,
yeah, but when there's
damage.
1/1 on board, it's gamble, and then I'm not sure if it's worth it.
Yeah. He got lucky there.
Yeah, but they also needed to draw more because when you look at their hand, they have basically a half dead hand. The Benizons and the Kukaitus don't do anything in this matchup. And you can't attack if you want to draw with the crest.
The next turn I'm turning to Izudia. I feel pretty confident that anything they play this turn, no, Wilbert doesn't even clear Erwin. So yeah, and they had to play that Marwyn for the spell to clear it. So I was pretty confident I could clear pretty much any board they presented. So yeah, here
Down comes Izudia. And the -6 is just really, really nice, obviously.
And so my last 2 draws were excellent. I drew Izudia and then I drew Carbuncle. So those are some stellar draws, by the way. It was everything I was digging for with that Lily draw the previous turn and helped me get closer to Izudia and Carbuncle. So now I just need to survive 2 more turns because discount to 4, discount to 3, and then on 3 out of 10 PP, Carbuncle gives me the 11 for the kill. So I just need to survive 2 more turns. And they put me kind of low here, which is a little bit scary. If they have a lot of those shining disenchantments, I could be in trouble. So I think this is where I go for Gil and Elise to heal out of a shining disenchantment. Let's see, I don't think I'm safe from double of them, but I might be safe from 1 if I do this play. Heal 11, heal 211.
You've got Bug Alert too, right? So you should.
I do have Bug Alert.
Yeah, so you should.
I don't want to Bug Alert it. I want to put as much bodies on board so we have to like spend to clear it, so the crest damage doesn't go as much through.
Yeah, so I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? You could have a line here where you're saving your last Super Evo for Baby Carbuncle, aren't you?
I have to, yeah. At this point, I don't want to try to
go an extra turn, but you Bug Alert the 5 and replay it and Super Evo again. But I guess it's kind of almost...
At this point, they're doing at least 5 damage to me a turn, so heal 5 with Gil and Elise is not
really worth
positive.
No.
Yeah, I'd rather just win a turn earlier.
Yeah.
And so here I don't play any of the fairies. That might be so I can easily combo a card if I draw a combo card next turn, or so a Glade is if I have to SVO for Glade to clear something. It could have been an argument to play a fairy or 2 out.
And by the way, the fact that he's then followed up with Cocytus, which you wouldn't have known, is even further in your decision to not go down the Bug Alert play there, right? Like, because now you really do need... Now you are racing, right? So definitely the Carbuncle play is...
Well, I just need to get through this turn, and I was pretty toast. I mean, I had Dragon's Allure, which is more dig, and it turns out that... I actually didn't realize that I only had one... I guess my only... Maybe the only answer here was Erwin. Or...
Wow.
Oh, no, it was, because I didn't even have... I couldn't play Congregant.
So
I drew it.
Super clutch.
Nope.
That was so clutch.
No more...
And you get the heal.
It actually might have been my only answer. Because I see that I already played the other Erwin previously. So that was a very good draw. 23 left in my deck.
I guess that's where Lily would have been good as well, right? You remember saying earlier about...
Yeah, another Lily would have been nice there for sure. A good reason to put 2 of those. So here I have 10 life.
Full stop pause here.
I didn't even realize you drew Silent Rider.
Go on. What were you going to say, Targuil? I paused it.
So here's what I would do as Haven here. I would play the Chalice, clear my board, and set up the temple. Now I have an empty board, and I have the barrier. So that would prevent the OTK, because you don't have...
Oh yeah, because he doesn't put it on, which is I remember thinking this is kind of strange in this matchup, right? Where you
then
don't.
On the following turn, you
it's
Silent Rider.
The one thing here is that he doesn't know I have Carbuncle in my hand. So if he's counting my Annihilation shot, it is 3 next turn. So if I don't have Carbuncle, he thinks he's safe. So that might have been a calculation that if he plays Temple earlier, then.
But how do you ping it early though? Like, say he plays it in a turn early.
Analyse, I guess. But even if you ping it early, you can compose on the same turn. So, and you can heal either. So
he knows you've got 2 copies in deck though, up on deck lists, and you've got Super Evo there. He's surely got to play it here. I think this is a misplay by him for sure. It's a good spot.
It's definitely a misplay.
Yeah, I think so.
Because you can... You could have played... he could have played around the OTK here.
Yeah.
But yeah, you drew heal. Let's assume he had a barrier and an empty board. You would be on 6. How much would you heal here? You
7. I would have healed 7. I'm at 13. No ward. I would have
and
died
they
a
have
Silent
Super
Rider.
Evo,
Steve-O.
so Silent Rider and Super Evo would still kill.
Oh, but the ping from Carbuncle pings off the shield anyway, though, right?
Yeah, but you
I don't
have
think there's a
ward.
follower.
If you chalice your own porter.
Oh, so you're saying you wouldn't develop the board?
Yeah,
Oh,
you
I
just
see.
chalice and the temple.
Got you.
You have empty board and a barrier.
Yeah. Okay. So game 1 in the bag. I suppose that was a slightly favoured matchup for you. One you were looking for. Barric. Was there anything about putting that deck forward first? Why you picked that over Abyss?
So actually, I was doing some like theory calculations in my head before the tournament, and I was thinking like, oh, if I'm probably running. I mean, I saw the lineup, so it was gonna be a lot of Crest Rune. So I'm like, if I see Crest Rune, do I want 2 shots with Izudia or 2 shots with Mode? And the first game, or going into it, I was like, I probably want 2 shots with Izudia because I'm guaranteed the Crest win, and I might luck out on the Rune. But then weighing how bad I thought Izudia was in the Rune after this match for the semis and the finals, well, no, the finals was different. For the semi, I put Mode first. Actually, there I put Mode first because I thought the other player, knowing that he was a top Rune MMR, and saw that he put Rune first on his quarterfinals games, I was confident he would go Rune first. So if I know they're going Rune first, or more confident that they are, then I want to do Mode first. But versus this one, I had some decision making prior that I thought it would be good to have 2 shots of Izudia, and it was because they decided to do Crest first.
Okay. Right, so we're on to Abyss versus Havencraft. This is where you get Targuil marking all your homework. Seeing how you play it. So obviously you have gone for you've gone for the tempo curve here, haven't you?
Yeah, I was very happy with this mulligan. It was threats on curve, which is kind of what you want to see against Haven.
Yeah, this is where you can push face pretty hard.
So you got the thumbs up from Targuil so far. I remember thinking, oh, this was such a good start. You were flying. But he has got the congruence, so he manages to control the board here, and he's probably going to attack right here. There's no reason not to yet, so he clears the board quite nicely with that. I suppose it would have been much more difficult if he didn't specifically have that card on 5. You would have...
Well, here I should Congregant Evo 1 and leave 2 bodies up, but I don't think do I not do that? No, I don't do that.
So you've kind of gone away from the tempo.
No, this actually... Okay, no, this is better. This is doing more modes.
This is better.
Yeah.
This is
okay.
leave
I was
7/7 on
last
board,
time, I guess.
No, I think you're doing well so far.
Only answerable here by Salefa, and it trades away, and it drains Evo, and it doesn't give you crests, and
Yeah,
you really don't want Salefa here.
It's either he plays Salefa or he plays another of the Congregant, which he just played, which he's less likely to have if he just played one.
Yeah.
So his answers have lined up really well.
So yeah, Marwyn here, I think he just has to play that out, Evo it, not trade in. Or does he trade? Oh, no. I don't think he does trade in. But yeah, you want to put 7 HP before Haven's Marwyn turn so they can't clear it. So yeah, this thing... So now my idea is, how do I push this 7 face and clear Marwyn and leave the biggest board behind?
Well, the Congruent would do that, wouldn't it, with Evo?
Congregant could do it if I Evo it and trade it in. I'm only progressing 1 mode there, and I have this other Devotee in my hand, so if I Evo Devotee, I'm trying to work in to see how can I play with Evo Devotee to clear, because that gives me more mode activations to spin my Evo there instead of Congregant.
No brainer with Gilnelis. You can just push 9 damage instead.
Oh, so you think he should Gilnelis the 7/4?
Yeah, and Devotee. Evo and clear the board. Then it's... Then they're at the 8, and it's already pretty dire straits from there.
That's really interesting. Yeah. So whereas here you do 2 less damage and you only have, well, you have a slightly better board, I suppose. So it's different line.
Yeah, I guess it's a.
Anybody want some Vinted? There we go. Yeah, interesting. That's a really interesting line. So there were 2 lines there.
Actually, it's not even that much of a better board. It has. This board has, well, maybe 2 health more and ward. But the other one has 3 bodies and. Well, yeah, both gets cleared by that, but I guess Gillenlease would have pushed 2 more damage there.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately in the long run, I'm not sure whether it would have mattered or not. I'm not sure, but it is interesting that we.
It might have mattered actually, just because that was what Targuil just described as a play with a similar outcome, this identical outcome, actually a better outcome after he cleared my board. I would have had 2 more damage, and I would have had this congregant. I would have had another congregant still in my hand instead of Devotee and Gillen. Gillen is all right late game for the burn, but not always useful, especially if I don't have like an Evo to still use with her or a lot of board presence already. And the Devotee, after I wasted my Evo, is kind of rotting.
Yeah, Devotee late game is just sad usually. It's maybe even with mode, it just doesn't do very much.
So maybe that was a question when analysing those 2 lines, right? Is to say what's going to be better later in the game. If it's quite kind of similar this turn, what's going to be better later in the game? And the answer probably would have been the Targuil's line was probably better for the long term, right? Maybe.
Yeah, if you're just looking at this, like if I had another congregant instead of Gillen, Elise, and Devotee in my hand, I would probably be
happier,
far more excited.
Yeah.
I guess this line could be better slightly if you draw another mummy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm not sure.
Well, you've got 1 more in the deck. Okay, turn 8.
This is kind of, I feel like I'm in a rough spot. I've gotten almost no late game fuel other than this Rule Vow and the twins that have been in my hand since the start. So I maybe didn't have to super Evo here. I thought I had to push board until my hand was empty.
Would have been better maybe here, but I think both of them would have been cleared by Jan either way.
Is there anything that...
Yeah,
is there
John here just really punishes.
Is there anything about playing Devotee with Vuela and Super Evo in Devotee that turn to get the extra thing from Vuela, and then you still have... Because this thing doesn't necessarily need to Super Evo, does it? Like, it can still get value from Storm, whereas those cards are a bit dead here. I don't know. I don't know what you guys think to that line.
Right, I think at this point, I was saving those 3 to play together. Vuela, yeah, it gets a little worse after the Super Evo's gone. Now after the second one, that's really feeling pretty trash. This was not going so great. Using Devotee earlier probably would have been a better play for sure at this point in the game. Not drawing any castles, not drawing Medusa or Screaming and Loathing even. Like,
well, you're definitely not drawing Medusa because you haven't got it.
Or not Medusa, I mean Cerberus. I keep confusing those things. We got two ancient Greek characters.
Yeah, exactly. There's a link there somewhere.
Here's also a slight weakness of the if you already burned your Super Evos, they're just not gonna do much late game.
Yeah, that's why I was wondering about that line with Devotee, Vuela, then keeping you VNR. This looks a bit sad now, doesn't it? Oh,
yeah, I need Screaming and Loathing to draw me something very good.
Yeah. I love that. I love that card.
So here I was looking at all right if I can get Sham Nacha, at least have another board build in hand. I think I go for a clear and.
I'm surprised you didn't go with the 4 damage on the first one. Oh, you were just digging hard for some Nacha.
I wonder if there was a line where you could have saved Congregant and Super Evo up to this point.
Congruent and Super Evo.
I could have also just
after
played
Sham.
Rulnai. I could have played Rulnai and not Super Evo'd it and not left as much of a board. I would have done that if I had better stuff in my hand, like if I thought I had a late game, but I didn't get a late game, so I thought the only chance I had at that point was pushing whatever life advantage I had gotten and hope their hand is bad, which it apparently was very good. With, I think at this point I ran into like 4 board wipes in a row.
Yeah. The Cresthaven has mad card draw. It's actually gotten to the point when I played that I just half the turns I almost burn cards because the Congregant of Repose just draws every turn. So you're basically drawing 2 every turn and often enough not even playing 2 every turn.
That early play where we had the 2 lines of play, if we'd saved the Congruent, that would have allowed you to do, like similar to what I was saying on we playing the Devotee, you could have done the Congruent then on Super Evo with the Voella, wouldn't you? That would have been a way more powerful turn 8. And then you would have still had your VNR, or whatever it's called, R and V, I'm not sure which way around that is, Ruella.
Yeah, I definitely did. There's definitely some things here I could have done. Give me a little bit more gas in the late game. Unfortunately, I guess he doesn't have anything in hand, but I guess at this point he top decked another 2 chalices or something. Or a chalice from Genre just killed me after this, or I lost track of how many board wipes we already played at this point, but it was without card draw and kind of being late on some of my mode value. Like I already spent 1 Genjutsu without max value. Spent 2 of my Congregants already. So here I just gotta get rid of some of the chaff from my hand to clear, hoping maybe, well, either I force the cup or they leave some of it and I can Cerberus, but neither of that's gonna happen. Well, I do force the cup, but only to have another one come down.
Yeah.
So now my next turn is essentially wasted, and I take 4 more damage, or 8.
Yeah, at this point it's basically over already.
Yeah.
Here's, well, it's a second copy, I guess. So yeah, here's just Genjutsu to drag 1 more turn on. Just dying immediately to the cup. And there's, he gets 3 cups in a row. Holy crap.
Wow.
That might be better than my Erwin draw last game. 3 cups in a row. Holy cow. Yeah. So yeah, this is why, like, this is one of the reasons I brought Izudia in the first place, was this. While it's not unwinnable, and I do beat Frest a few times as Abyss, it feels a lot worse. They have a lot more cards to clear you than you have Super Evos and cards to make boards, unless you get an early turbo Fate and start doubling up with Congregants. That can force out some of their clears, and hopefully they don't have all of them.
Yeah, the late game is really hard for mode here, but on the other hand, if mode plays some aggressive deck with perils and stuff, then it can just run you over. The crest doesn't do anything really.
So here it's pretty much over. The reason I played Castle Draw second and not first is because there's like nothing I'm drawing with it that I'm playing other than the Cerberus, and the 1 damage buff might help, but it doesn't. And we go to game 3, Rune versus Abyss. Not great in hindsight. I guess Rune was a little better for Abyss to fight than Crest, so I do end up winning, but
Okay, so what have we got? We got Sham Gilnalise, which you get rid of. Now this is where you say you're looking for the tempo push, right, with this deck. So interesting chucking away Sham, because it is a 2/2 you can play on turn 2. You don't have a.
So I would play her if I draw her from the mulligan, but I'm not looking for her.
I would still get rid of her. Yeah.
I would rather have that Devotee and Supplicant.
Yeah, and I guess you've got. Oh no, you got rid of Ghastly as well.
Gas can have only second, so if they have Melvi on turn 2, their Melvi just kind of eats my skeleton. That's something I was actually discussing with Targuil right before a later match, I think. They actually had a really good hand here. Well, not as much early game, but they have a removal, and then they have Double climb and Norman. Yeah, Norman really. Oh, double Norman. Yeah, I was really in for a doozy.
I see Serb and Rulnai, and I'm already thinking I'm just gonna go face all game and ignoring mode. It feels already like that game plan from the start.
So here it's either draw or coin supplicant. I kind of want to save my coin and my supplicant for like an Evo turn or just uncurve it. There could be an argument for playing something out. Oh, I think he had an Edelweiss in his list, and so I didn't want to just supplicant die to Edelweiss. Was another reason. If they don't have Edelweiss and they already use their Stormy Blast, there might be more of a reason to play supplicant there.
This is a big one because you don't play supplicant here, do you?
Yeah, I just went for the draw, 2 draw on curve and Screaming Loathing. And that was decent because it got me a Shamnacha. So if we do end up going late game, I have some outs there, although also double Serb now, which definitely kind of goes back to Targuil's observation that the primary plan is going to be the face race.
See, that play there, I think that's something that, this is a masterclass, and I think that's something that a lot of, intermediate players would they think to do that? Because you just played this 4-drop out, which has an ability, and then you evoed it, which lets it redo its ability, and it didn't get either of those abilities off. And I think that really speaks to what you're saying about what is the big picture game plan here. That if you do not push that tempo against Rune, you are going to lose the long game. I think that's a really good lesson there. Really cool.
That basically forces an Evo.
Yeah. Right. Forces their Evo. I think that's a really cool. I think that was a real kind of pro move there that's really worth pointing out to people because a lot of people just won't make that move on ladder.
Generally, you want to Evo towards their face, but it's usually okay to just trade Evos, basically.
So what are we doing
here? I don't think I like Congregant Evo because at this point I see a pretty good mid to late game curve. Congregant, Rulnai, Serb. So here I think I just go for getting a little more thin to deck and just clear the Angrea. Can get punished by Norman next turn, which is I think what ends up happening. However, using the Congregant Evoing it and not getting the SVO extra mode from it felt pretty bad. And I wouldn't have a turn 6 play either unless I use the play point on Rule 9, then I don't have a turn 7 play.
It's really hard not to get punished by the double golems here.
Yeah, golem really made me feel a little bit unfortunate. Perhaps, even if I did push the Congregant Evo, it would have only, Norman would have just traded for it and still be at 3 HP, so it wouldn't have done a ton in how I drew. And Congregant is the only thing I can play this turn, because the only other playables in my hand are 2 Shamnachas, which I definitely don't want to SVO those and get a Norman, I have no dirt.
Yeah. This is the exact situation where I just want Medusa.
Medusa,
yeah. Even if it wastes the step, basically wastes the step plus 1 play point and delays everything else, it just clears this mess.
And it was
otherwise, you just take damage to the face no matter what.
This is just sad. I was watching this at 4:30 this morning, the UK time, and thinking, this is game over. What do you do to this board? But you hung in there. So here
I'm thinking hard, and
Didn't they make a point on the commentary about why didn't you remove the shield?
Yeah, the shield is useful not to do that, so they can't go wider because that golem stays on the board. And I'm leaving more HP on my guys, and now I have the weakest guy protected by 2 wards, so there's a small chance that the 4/1 survives, and maybe I can SVO push with it next turn, because when a Congregant survives on board, SVOing it is actually 5 damage potentially, because you can give it +2/+2 as the option.
You're obviously gonna Serp next turn here, so I would assume Serp just clears it whether there's the shield still remaining or not. So I wouldn't remove it either.
Yeah, good call, good shout.
And now they can't even sacrifice it if they for some reason want to. But
block space from a Kuon, for instance.
Yeah, but even Kuon would still waste one. But I guess it discourages Kuon even more.
So the Super Evo was 1 rush and then 1 mod, wasn't it, on that?
Yeah, that Super Evo was kind of weird. I guess...
Their one, yeah.
Yeah.
He smelt the blood, didn't he, and went for it, but backfired.
Yeah. So, here, you went for the hill line with the Serb. I'm not sure. It might be the correct one, because they do run the Odin, but you're still at 9, even with the 1 heal. I might have gone for the damage puppies instead.
Oh, Targuil, that is ballsy. Come on, man.
Because I know they
9
can't
life.
do
That's
9
next
damage.
level. Next level.
And I would get 4 more damage. I would just go for the damage, probably.
Yeah. That's why we're in the 99.9% Barric. That is, there's no way I wouldn't have healed there. I'd have been panicking.
Even if I knew there was the 1 Odin, which they actually, I think, draw here next turn, it still wasn't enough, I think. And yeah, now they couldn't clear this, and now I would be very hopeful.
It's so interesting how much this has turned around here, right? If we go back 2
that
turns.
1 turn,
Yeah.
I was entirely expecting to just like 1 PP Stormy blast my Cerberus and then like have to rebuild, but that is as soon as he passed turn with the 9/9 still up, I'm like, okay, this game swung in my favor immediately.
Yeah, big time. You look at him, he's shaking his head, he's like, how is this happening? This is why having the faces on is quite good on the camera, because you kind of get to see the...
Hold on. Let's think about this play once more. Serb is not bad, that's for sure. But what if you actually played Rulnai here and went for the big board instead?
So what would you have done with Rule 9? You would have gone...
You just
2/5/5s.
don't storm, but you just go for the big board. If they couldn't remove 9 health body, what are they gonna do about 9 health body and 3 more bodies?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Maybe I guess that is something sometimes I do consider as like what they did or didn't do last turn is without a great top deck is probably going to influence what they can and can't do the next turn. Point that out, it could have been good, maybe more lethal to put a big body out. I think I wanted Rule Knight at that point for the Storm finisher, to finish from hand. Although, I mean, that's a good point. Finish from board if they have no way to remove it.
Yeah, I guess there's a possibility they just, which they will declimb, and they might draw. Did they run William here?
Actually, so I'm looking up right now. This was WAG. WAG had the crest list. WAG did have. Oh, he did have 1 William. So a William could have been a consideration at that moment.
Yeah. Not sure if.
And this play put him in range of Rule 9 next turn, so I felt pretty good about that.
Yeah, it probably was better. But if you had got 1 damage line, there would be 4 more damage here.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, I went for the heal because I didn't know they were going to pass back Medusa. If I knew they were going to pass back Medusa, or I mean, sorry, not Medusa, Cerberus. If I knew they were going to pass back with my Cerberus on board, damage is definitely could have been more correct there.
And here, if they didn't, let's say they didn't draw at all, and they just played Edelweiss and then Kuon.
Oh, that probably clears it than leaving their ward up, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
But now they don't have the PP for that, and now they can't even clear the board without trading the ward. It wouldn't have even mattered what the Edelweiss random target would have hit, I don't think.
No, because you just had 4 damage to swing instead of the ward, yeah.
Yeah, and now if they had ward... well, I'm not sure if that hand would have still done much. Well, I guess they could have... they might have lost anyway. But that certainly wasn't the line from Reon, I don't think so. Maybe I'm
Awesome.
missing something.
So we go through 2-1 and into the semi-finals, and I think you were playing winning quite a bit. This is it. Yeah, so you then went to play on Dream. Now, Dream Life is someone who's quite seasoned, I think, in Shadowverse. I believe he was the top #1 rune player at one point, and he's won previous tournaments. You can tell from his what do we call the little name tag thing in this game?
The flares.
The flares, yeah. You could tell from his flare he had some sort of champion thing. All right, so here we go.
Before we start this one, can we take a short break?
I was not planning on editing this.
Oh.
But I mean, I guess we could. It will mean I don't think I'll be able to get this out tonight, though. If I'm going to go through editing,
We're gonna do a no cut then. That's good. How much?
We can try to speed up a bit if it's...
Yeah, we can speed it up a bit. So you're up against Abyss. Here we go. So we're up against Abyss, and let's have a look. You're on the top this time. Dark Side and Gil and Elise thrown away. So you are Abyss, and you're up against Rune, sorry. So it's kind of what we've just seen, isn't it? The last matchup, it's the same again.
Yeah, I guess I felt a little better because the last one did go well. This hand, I have the 2-drop, I have some draw, I have a removal if they follow my 2-drop with their own.
You're just praying he doesn't have Norman.
Norman, yeah, going second, you get what? The WAG just gone second, and now another going second rune felt not great.
Yeah, no.
So here there's actually 2 lines. You either can remove that and push 2-face, or you can actually castle and bump your mummy to 3.
Oh, yeah.
And if they can't, if they even have the Stormy Blast, they can't kill it without boosting it. So they have to trade it anyway to you.
Yeah, really interesting.
And you got 1 more damage in there, and you probably got to draw 2 with the castle.
I guess that is 1 more damage. What was it? At that point, I was thinking that I had Supplicant for the next turn, but I had nothing on the follow-up turn. I had nothing for my Evo turn. I had nothing to really deal with their Angrea. If that was coming out.
That storm.
So I wanted to draw followers.
He wouldn't have been able to do that storm, though, like you just said there, Targuil. That's really interesting.
Well, he would have still stormed. I would have just traded 1 more because he would have still had the Melvy on board. So he would have just traded his Melvy and the Stormy Blast, but I would have chipped in 1 more. Right. But it's kind of like when you use Castle for 1 damage, you do lose a card essentially. And because I didn't have great cards, it can be, yeah.
I think I sometimes am too creative with the +1 damage and health. Usually you just should opt for drawing with the castle, but
okay, doesn't Evo here, so you can. This is a great target for screaming, right?
I think I do.
This is a gamble.
Probably the 50. I don't.
Oh
yeah. Here I was wishing that I could. The difficult part with screaming is that for it to cost 2, you still have to have 3 to play it.
Yeah,
and so I think that my plan was that if screaming missed there, I would just have to Evo and trade it, and I'd have 3 less health, which would not be great. Or 4 less health rather, I'd be at 3. But it was a 50-50 for a pretty good outcome, and yeah, they eat up all their dirt, which I guess actually was, well, they played some more. But they could have avoided this Norman turn. Here I know they're coming with Norman, so I gotta get something in hand and put something on board to deal with it. And here actually a little bit of a miscalculation. I'm thinking of Evo Norman, but actually they get Sivo unlocked next turn, so I think that I do put my Devotee up to 8 HP.
It's
so
not
that the way
actually
they're
bad.
Evo...
It forces the Super Evo out of them.
Well, True, if they do play Norman, which I didn't know, like, do they even have
Yeah.
Norman, or are they going to play something else with, like, Kuon instead? Because at Kuon, it actually does nothing. They just Super Evo Kuon, dealing 4.
The
I guess it's still
commentators
forcing
gave you a
Super
lot of
Evo,
credit,
but-
a lot of kudos for this, Barric. They gave you a lot of kudos for this because of exactly what Targuil just said. That it forced him to Super Evo. That Evo wouldn't clear it.
That's interesting. Okay, when in the game when it happened to me, I felt like, wow, that actually wasn't as good because he just Super Evo'd it and still now I have a. I mean, looking across from this board, I'm pretty terrified.
This is horrendous. This is ugh.
Yeah.
Oh god.
I guess
Oh yeah, here I try to clear. I think I actually have a lucky clear on board, but it absolutely backfired.
yeah.
I lose all of my luck from the previous.
Yeah.
The previous
So
card.
when
This was
everybody
really
talks
what felt
about
terrible.
having good luck, which you did have some good luck in certain games, this is a turn everybody should go back and watch. So so basically, just for everyone, you had the chance of doing 3 damage twice, and both of them hit the 8/8. So that was super unfortunate. Yeah, and I thought it was game over here again. Just like this is really bad.
it could have been full clear.
Yes, it would have. Yeah. Oh, this is so bad at this point, man. I don't know how you kept the mental fortitude to stay focused after that. Like honestly,
I don't know. I think I stopped moving around a lot. I think I got really still. If I'm just like they need to have no answers to my double Gensetsu. And I mean, looking at their hand, I guess they don't. They have they just drew a Force Flames of Chaos. I think, yeah, Dream didn't have very much AoE in his list either.
So now we
One
get
Flames of
smacked in the
Chaos, and
face
that's
at 8. We're down to 11. So turn 8.
Oh yeah, at this point, it's I don't even have a good play here. It's like, do I want to SVO Gilnelise and heal a little bit? That feels kind of low power. My health total doesn't really matter too much because like at this, they have so many cards in hand. I think at this point they surely have like 0 cost climb or at least low cost climb and Kuon. They haven't played. I don't think they played a Kuon yet.
I think you navigated this turn very well though, Barric, because they were talking about, oh no, you've got to spend your last Super Evo, but you were quite disciplined here in not doing that.
Yeah, they have a 2/2. They're at 19 health. Like the drain doesn't matter at all. Like, or maybe they have a 2/4. They're they've already evoed it, so that was a pretty unthreatening presence at that point. And I knew that it was just going to die to Gensetsu clear next turn if they built a board, or it would die to the Foxes if they didn't build a board.
Yeah.
So it wasn't worth investing my last SVO just to clear a 2/4.
Oh my god, what's with that?
So sorry about these ads. If I'd thought about this, I should have done something before we started.
Okay.
Maybe ad
So
blocking.
yeah, a small thought about mode uppers in general. This is basically the nightmare situation when you just can't draw the sham.
Yeah, I'm at 13 here, and I'm like, where is she?
Yeah, you're at 13, yeah. But you again, that is where you've built it, where you can play it just like a mid-range build, right? Like that's the fallback mode.
I mean, yeah, the especially, I mean, Gensetsu in particular, like the AoE wipe is nice, but if they don't develop a board, the Foxes are pretty potent on them alone. And yeah, what did they just spend a pretty passive turn spell boosting?
Now when you draw the third one, I was pretty confident you had this. If they don't combo you now, and it's kinda hard to get through all of them without full combo.
Yeah. Oh, and then you Super Evo Gilnelise, didn't you? Yeah, this was really great.
Yeah,
Hiding it
here
behind
I
the
pushed
thing,
5 damage.
Yeah.
Hide behind the wall. Because at first I thought like, wow, it sucks that Gilnelise messed up one of my Foxes, and I'm like, well, why not turn that into like a positive and push 5 damage, heal a little bit. So if they do have some crazy 9 play point, extra Kuon, double demonic call, AoE, I might not die or whatever.
And you've countered his snowman play, because his whole snowman tech here is to obviously hit Suzuki so that you just have, you're board locked, and he does do that here, I think, right? But because you've got the 5/4, that board looks not that great because you're still doing, what, 9-11 damage?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really heads-up play. The Super Evo on Guild Analyse there, I think.
So here's the misplay that
Where you
I was
just
concerned
rage.
about.
Yeah.
So for a second, I was thinking that Rage could maybe hit anything, and I could swing my Fox and then kill my Fox with my own Rage, and then Odin. But then after I'd already swung with Guild Analyse, I saw that I cannot do that. So I wasn't winning the game that turn. So then I do it for 3 extra. I put him to 1 instead, but I could have stayed at 20 HP.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. At least you had a thought process. Like, I think people just thought you were rushing and you just totally misplayed it. But
I never had a situation where I would have raged my own follower, but yeah.
That would have made sense, right? Would have given you lethal if you could have done it. So
would have given me the 1 more damage for Odin, yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because that's what I was looking for. I was hoping I would get Death Lash. That's what I was hoping. Because I had Odin in my hand. I'm like, I just need to draw Death Lash. Because then I can Wait, do you need an opponent target to kill? You do, right? Okay, maybe I couldn't have done that. Then this is the game. Actually, it wasn't the Forest game versus Ruin. This is the game where they spent all their demonic calls. So after this turn, I knew I was very safe. Because I think they can't finish me off. They spent that. This is their last call. There's also their last SVO's already gone.
Oh, Ginseiki. That is so good. That's so good. Don't care about Aura. That obviously Odin couldn't get through, but Ginseiki could. Ginseiki. So he uses flames here, right?
No, I think he plays both of his units out.
Oh, does he?
And Evo's Angrea. I think he had a wide board when I finished off. Because yeah, he needs to play a ward here to dodge Rulnai.
Oh yeah,
probably is a correct play from him.
Yeah, keeps the ward up, but
and then I got the castle to boost. So this is where I guess 1 damage comes in.
Yeah, and you can see him look at him holding his head. Like I think he didn't. He probably thought about Odin, but he didn't calculate the castle, which is really cool. So you're 1-0 up, right? And into.
And even if you couldn't have cleared that, there's still the third Kinsetsu clear and
exactly. Okay, so you've got Cruel, Hamlet, and Grimnir. So what are you looking for in this match?
I guess I might have. So at this point, I was feeling very good because that was the hard matchup. Was Mode versus Rune. I'd won with Mode. I know that he has Crest as the other deck, so I was expecting to lose this game and get a free win on Crest essentially. So I think I decided that if I might as well like try for a win and go for the kind of like I guess I was going for like the tempo Izudia. Like I need them to play out some stuff. So I keep Grimnir to have like something on. Or no, do I not?
I'm surprised you don't keep Hamlet.
I just went full Izudia.
Oh no, I think you keep Hamlet.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
1 Hamlet to draw for sure. Double Hamlet is a little chunky. Cruel does nothing. Grimnir doesn't. Actually, wait. This is Rune. Grimnir's not clearing very much, but I might keep it for the tempo play, and I do. Okay, and I draw Izudia. That's very good. I do a little head nod. Second Hamlet, not bad because it's just more card draw. So if he has
oh boy,
the Grimnir does. Well, I guess the Hamlet does. Both of those answer his Melvi. 1 Edelweiss, and then it's just 5 drops. So there's really not much they play early on. Their hand doesn't look fantastic. Don't play the Carbuncle here because I do want to quickly kill them. No tempo Carbuncle for me. Here it's going to be Grimnir first. There's an argument to Hamlet, but like I said, there's nothing I'm really scared about them playing on turn 3. They can't even coin Edelweiss here. And I already have Carbuncle and Izudia, so I'm just looking for 1 more Izudia, which I draw right there. So I already have the win in my hand. provided they don't play like very aggressively. And that's what I see, is that their hand must either not be good, or I had the answers for what they played. And there was, yeah. And now I have Congregant too, which is a very good card, especially now that this rune didn't have William, had 1 Flames of Chaos. So if I keep my Congregants, at least my 4 and 5 HP up, that's like 2 things that they can't clear with their Sagelight AoE. So that's going to be a good follow-up Izudia turn. I'm going first. I went first so many games, actually. It's kind of crazy now I look back at it. I guess Erwin, yeah, if you're going first, is a good pre-play into Izudia.
This is what was talking about, hand management, isn't it? This is where it gets a bit awkward in these like passive matchups, where you're sort of like, you want to draw, but then you don't. You don't want to overdraw. I mean, it's not so bad here because you kind of already have everything you need, right? Like the overdrawing is.
I do. Let's see. I don't have a turn 6 play for their Norman turn. They have Coin Norman next turn that I'm worried about.
Yeah, your 6-drop would be the dream, wouldn't it? The anti-Norman.
And here
tech.
I play out 1 fairy just for hand space. Get my other fairy ready. And then I don't kill the Edelweiss because like 4 damage I can heal up pretty easily. I already have Erwin, and then Cruel's going to heal 1. They don't Norman, thankfully. Yeah, this board gets pretty easily cleared with what my Hamlets and Cruel. And I think this is where I actually bug alert for a little bit of extra value and to save a Hamlet on board. Since it's better to... Like, you've already paid for your Hamlets, so it's better to use them last and spend all your play points before you have to use Hamlet if you're going for a removal turn. Here you could bounce a Hamlet, but there's not a point to it because I don't need to draw more, so I just bounce Cruel. He had Burgent in his list, so Cruel's also kind of good to have a stealth play later, or ambush play later that can board lock them if they onion.
So Anne Greer, but you know, we've got the you've got the Aaron lots and loaded here. Yeah. It feels like this match really comes down to kind of what happens between that sort of turn 8 to 11, isn't it? Like, he can get off first, really.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's by default, Rune should have it because their combos.
Yeah, if they've got
sooner.
their combo, it goes quicker. Yeah.
But the way no Norman and the very passive plays for the last like 3. I mean, Angray's not passive, but like it wasn't doing much and it was being very easily cleared, so it wasn't really getting them like the usual mileage that Angray does for Rune. So it felt like a bunch of very weak turns. No Kuon here is a little suspicious because at this point, I mean, if they're playing around my Izudia or playing at least to race me, they should know that I need to spend some evos. Because yeah, like especially with Carbuncle in hand, there's only 3 turns you have to survive between Izudia. Actually, no, 2 turns actually, because if you clear the board with your Izudia play, which usually you do, because it kills at least 2 things, typically, you only have to survive 2 full turns before you Carbuncle them when it's 3. And so that means I have like I know I can spin an Evo and a Super Evo in my next 2 turns, like guaranteed.
So he goes with
I don't know what he was looking for here.
I
don't. So this is a really like he has so many clears, and I have no idea what he was looking for here.
Okay, we're getting to that moment.
There's like Kuon right there, like.
So do you think he
plays Kuon?
So this
you
is
have a board.
We're gonna have to pause here, guys, because this is like probably the biggest moment of the whole video. So it's interesting, isn't it? Because we know that he doesn't clear the board here, right? And this is the first snowball, if you like, into one of the most historic turns in SVO Open history. Do you think that it was because of the decline he was looking for something specific, didn't get it, and then just conceded? Because like, when I was watching this live, right, I literally just thought, right, he's conceded, and it's the etiquette of it being the SVO that he's not just going to quit and resign. Like, I think there's an etiquette, isn't there, that we were talking about this, Barric, that you just play out the game and just let them finish you. So my thought was that he just doesn't attack here. But that's what I was thinking. I thought he
maybe could be if I was that much more like I'm ahead in my hand.
His timer's going. His timer's going. Yeah. Does he run out of time?
Burgent just clears. Burgent no Evo just clears it. So my hand had a almost guaranteed win. At the time, for the limited time I had to calculate, this was not the game where they spent all their decalls at previous games. Someone had brought that up, and I brought that up as a potential defense for my calculations. I don't remember exactly what I was thinking, but I was saying earlier, I know I have 2 Evos to spend in the turns between. I have Congregant to gum up the board before they can SVO chip me to death, so that's a safe play. The turn after that, I was looking, I had Cruel plus Glade, which, if you Evo Glade, he's going to trade himself and die. Cruel will be ambush, there'll be no SVO chip target there, and then I have Carbuncle, Izudia in 2 turns. So yeah, I mean, it's not like you were even... I know in the rules you're actually not supposed to intentionally lose. I was reading the rule book, and I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't clear the board if you have an answer. So it was a little confusing. But I just kind of wanted to go with the win that I worked for, that I had kind of crafted. It was a pretty good showing from Izudia Horse, and I don't know, it felt a little wrong to maybe do the super easy thing right out in the open.
So let's just, you know, because there's been a lot of talk about this on Reddit, and so just for anyone who's not following this, your opponent has essentially left Izudia alive, and what that basically means now is that Barric can just simply play his spell, this card here, because Izudia's on the board, which 99.999% of games will never happen. You've automatically won, right? You play this card and you've won the game. It does 20 damage to face. So we'll listen to what the commentator said in a minute, but what I'm doing is I'm backtracking a little bit and going, what was he doing, right? And there was a few things there. There was the decline, which makes me think he was looking for something. There was the timer, so it could be just the pressure. We already talked about how long a weekend this was, the nerves, the tired, everything that goes into it. It could have just been that he timed out, he was overthinking. Or, as I thought when it was live, I actually thought he'd just soft conceded. That's legitimately what my thought was that he'd done there. He's just gone, okay, I've lost. I'm just trying to unpack why. So now we'll put the commentary on.
This is 20 damage. I think that's a soft concede from me. That's a soft concede from me. Yeah.
It must be. I'm assuming he just didn't see any other way through, but...
Barric, please play it.
But that doesn't make any sense right there. Didn't see any other way through.
There's disbelief. There's disbelief.
They could have just played Bergen
Barric
and cleared it with nothing else.
The 20
They
damage.
could have evoed Melby. They played Melby.
The only thing they've said the only thing they've said that made sense there is it was a soft concede. That's the only thing that makes sense.
I guess that could be. I didn't think you could do that, but
instant win button in hand.
Instant win button.
This is a very soft. This is.
I have to say, I was going, what is Barric thinking about here? What is he thinking?
Why is
another thing here is annoying. I'll just say that since I guess we are addressing this, is that a lot of people are saying that I was mousing over Annihilating Onslaught like I was reading it and didn't know what it did. But I'm mousing over Congregant. The spectator here who's spectating the match is looking at Onslaught.
Yeah, okay, you see, this is what I mean. This is these important details. It does look like you're reading it to check what it does. Yeah, so it was actually the spectator. Okay. Important detail.
He's hovering over the Congregant? Does he not know? Does he not didn't you mention that he only just recently played or picked up Izudia?
Started playing this deck. He only...
So now the reason, you're in the semi-final of the SV Open, you've only won 15 rounds, but now it's because you've only been playing the deck for 2
days. He picked up this deck 2 days ago. He picked up this deck 2
days ago. No! Oh no, Barric! Barric! Barric!
You gotta give Igni the kudos on the color commentary. That's one thing you've got to say. Oh boy.
That just gave Dream Life a second life.
Is there any chance you could have lost the game because of not taking the win there?
So their hand was incredibly bad, I was reading, and I actually had no idea what they were up to at this point, except that they had given up, or like they were trying to give up. I kind of wanted to get the win that I'd already built for, and I mean, I think now that I think about it, since they did, they could have had double decline, like they could have had Kakaitis on the next turn. They could have had Kakaitis, decline, Silent Rider, decline, Silent Rider. I don't think the spell boost I was counting at the time. I don't know if that would be possible unless they had like 2 declines in their opening hand that had been spell boosted on each of the other declines.
So yeah,
played.
if that full list would have been decline, but that was bounced back to the deck and then drawn again.
Yeah. Actually, I was a little worried here is, well, at this point, I mean, I would have killed them with Congregant Wall, because that is like one of the win conditions. They have to essentially clear almost all of Congregant Wall.
And there's no William.
If they left it all, yeah, there's no William. And when they clear my Congregant Wall, and I can clear their board next turn with Glade and Cruel, leave nothing for them to SVO chip, and it was, I mean, that's what I'd planned 2 turns earlier, to give them no outs.
I mean, I feel like, you know, I've got to be responsible for asking this, right? Because, you know, there's Reddit threads about this turn, and people are making videos and all sorts of stuff. So I think it's really important that we clarify, Barric, that on your part, this wasn't BM, right?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't BM to be disrespectful to players. I have definitely respect for the other competitors. In ladder, I'm definitely I get cheeky with the emotes and all that because I'm playing a game, I'm having fun. Competition, definitely respect for the guy. If anything, I had no idea what was going through his head. Maybe it was a tragic misplay. Maybe he was just trying to soft concede. I didn't really want to accept a soft concede at that point. I kind of wanted to play out the whole thing. I had made it very far. I kind of wanted to like earn the win with like what I had played out. And my like I was expecting to lose this match going into it and like just win the Cresthaven and be done.
Yeah.
But at the like that turn 6, turn 7, like no Norman on turn 6, and then turn 7, like a very weak turn from them as well. I'm like, I can actually win this with Izudia as it's meant to be done.
But to be to be really clear with people, so all this is going on through your mind. You know, you weren't expecting to win it. You're deep in. You're 15 games deep in. All the stuff we've already said. You're calculating so many different details, and you're thinking about what if he's got this and you do that, and then what your kind of planned end was. And in all of that, and in all that focus of the detail, did you just miss the obvious in that moment?
I wasn't looking at that as a way to win. I had another win in my mind.
Yeah,
there was no
you were
need
so
to
focused
kill
on your plan that you just missed the obvious because it was so unheard of, right? That they would just leave your Izudia up. That you just weren't even there. You were so deep in your plan. Is that fair to say?
That can be an interpretation for sure. Yeah, I didn't want to kill him that way.
Yeah,
I didn't want to take that out.
Well, I want it to be your interpretation because I think that is one of the big, you know, people are asking why didn't you just end the game right there, right? And I think, you know, I just wanted to, yeah, it needs to be your answer to that, I guess. But all I'm saying, and I know I'm biased because I'm your teammate and I'm obviously rooting for you to win. If I just look at this from a human point of view and not like some maths puzzle to solve, I can totally understand, given the context of, I mean, I'm renowned for missing lethal, so I can totally understand how you'd be so focused on your plan that when something like this happens, which is so bizarre, like his turn was, in my opinion, his turn was as bizarre as your turn. Like, well,
his turn wasn't correct. Like he just like stopped playing like Shadowverse. Like I'm there to play Shadowverse. You stop playing your cards. What am I gonna do?
And I'm also looking at his body language. Yeah, I'm wondering whether he's gone, okay, I've conceded, and then because you haven't played it, is he like, oh, why didn't you just ended the game? So now is he like trying to play again? Like I don't know. Like I wondered if he was just gonna pass the turn back again. Anyway, this is so weird. We'd need to have Dream Life on to really understand his perspective, I guess. Because it looks like he's thinking now. It looks like he's trying to play again all of a sudden. So if it was a soft concede, then wouldn't he just pass the turn back?
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. Or maybe he thinks, oh, maybe he's thinking, well, I soft conceded, then you BM'd, so now I'm going to play. I don't know. It's just crazy, isn't it?
It's a great mystery, perhaps, what was actually going on in our heads at the exact time, because like even like as we're doing the commentary replays, like I can't remember exactly what I was thinking, like making the choices for a lot of these games so far in that moment. So it might be a great mystery. It was precisely what either of us were thinking. But I mean, if anything, it's great for content. Certainly, the content creators are having a field day with this, and the Reddit heads and Twitter posters are having a field day. So I mean, good for them to keep them engaged and occupied. And I guess
So-
more news for Izudia Forest, and that's good in my book.
So is this like a 14 or 15 games of hyperfocusing at this point?
I think so. That's how I read it. Yeah.
Actually, this is kind of tricky to clear. I thought I had a really good clear, and I was hand size was actually a little difficult for me here because I needed 3 fairies to do I think what I wanted to do. And right now, yeah, my goal is not dying to SVO chip from Kaitis Climb or dying to 18 Puan lethal with decalls. I mean, they can't decall. It costs too much, and I'll leave nothing to trade it out with. So Cruel's going to make everything less. It's like 8 damage, essentially, Cruel. And I think I don't Glade here.
I wondered if you'd use Garden's Allure, actually, to draw first. Maybe Garden Allure the Glade and draw. You might
no, there is no... I mean, I have the clear. I was just trying to think of how do I clear and kill my guys, because I can't leave anything on the board.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So I had to basically leave the Supplicants to clear Norm. Actually, leaving Gil and Elise is good, because it's less board space for them.
Yeah. So you just trade everything in, basically.
At that point, it was... I mean, it had already been pretty guaranteed, but at that point, it was definitely guaranteed.
What a game, Barric.
I guess.
What a game.
Puck, Declimb.
This is funny. Just listen to
Silent
the
Rider,
commentary.
Silent Rider could have maybe done
Go down
something.
from the hands.
Listen to the commentary now.
From
It's so funny.
Barrick's side here just to see the leader. There we go. 19.
Click the right button.
19
He's safe.
without Dimension Shift. Dimension Climb, sorry, is not in hand.
Oh.
Old habits die hard.
No, that's totally fair, man. I keep calling them
He's not, missing
instead
board
of
space.
supplicants and devotees or whatever, I keep calling them servants and disciples and stuff. Yeah, dude.
Oh, it's not your turn yet, is it? Yeah, so I don't know what he's thinking through at this stage. Like,
But it's still possible he could have had a boosted decline at this point, but
he doesn't know
I
you've got
guess,
the second Izudia either, does he? It wasn't a bug alert.
I mean,
Yeah, that
he
too.
must have thought it because, I mean, I don't know what this guy was thinking at this point, but
yeah, when he kind of didn't clear the first one, it it was just so weird.
Yeah.
I mean, so was your not taking the victory
Hey, Izudia,
too, but
coming down. Let's get that spell. Let's get
I guess
that
that's a good signal
There
that
we
he
go.
didn't have the decline, but because otherwise he
Get
would
the 3 play
would have
points
played
back,
for that.
and there is the annihilating onslaught. Run the animation,
Oh.
20 damage to face. It took a couple turns, but we got there anyway.
We got there anyway. Oh boy, oh boy. I was so relieved. I mean, a lot of drama there. Some for the right reasons, some for the wrong, I guess. But you know, at the end of the day, like you said at the start, like it wasn't a match you were expecting to win, and you actually got that one through. So let's skip on to the grand final.
And yeah, in the end you won, so that's all that really matters.
well,
Yeah.
I won, but also like even if I lost there, my next matchup was against Cresthaven versus the Izudia. So like that was also very very confident at that point.
But slight technicality. I mean, people saying you threw the match. How can you throw a game that you win? Like I don't understand how you.
That is a great point.
You can't throw a match if you win. Like, you made an error, but you didn't throw the match. Like if you'd lost, oh my lord, if you'd lost, that would have been bad. But you didn't. So.
Yeah, the only reason I'm giving that pass is because you still won it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, right, here we go. So Flying Goatee. Now, Flying Goatee was bringing Rune. We've seen lots of Rune, pretty similar. Doesn't have William in his rune either. And then he brought the kind of somewhat interesting, I thought, sword deck, which was a loot sword that also ran tablet. And then lots of kind of like one-drop end game, you know, the burn finishes, tentacle, and the centaur and things like that. So here we go. You've gone with Forest first in this matchup, and you've got the matchup you wanted, right?
Yeah, this was definitely. I was my thought here is it was Rune,
Nice
and
mulligan as well.
they had Rune and Forest, so yeah, against Rune Crest I was queuing Abyss first, but I also just queued Abyss, and I don't know if he was watching my game, so I also want to switch it up for that as well. Get the Izudia win out of the way, or get.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, I mean, the commentary and the chat were really did not understand this matchup at all.
Two shots with it.
Sorry, Barric, you broke out a little bit there.
And Cruel is excellent to see, especially without the play point.
Yeah, you're drawn into Cruel. We were just saying as well, Barric, because you just cut out a little bit there. We're just saying that the commentary team and the chat really clearly didn't understand this matchup, because they kept saying about how your hand was bricked because you didn't have Izudia. And back to when we did the deck tech at the beginning of this video, you know, we were saying there, weren't we, that this deck has an alternative wink on, and that's really what you're looking for against the sword, isn't it?
Right. Well, I mean, I already have kind of part of it, which is Congregant, and it's, well, actually a mixed bag here, because I'm going first, so if they save their second extra play point, they could actually Albert before I can Congregant. So that's actually not a great answer.
No,
however, their early game was... can you not hear me? Hello?
Yeah. We can hear you. Sorry, yeah.
Is it cutting out?
It was a little bit, but that bit was fine. Now you've got the heal. Got the heal. This is where I felt confident with this hand. You've got the removal, you've got the heal early, then you've got the Congruent afterwards. You got the bug alert. I just felt like you couldn't lose this, really.
Yeah. The Izudia Forest seems to play this matchup a bit similarly to Mode Abyss. It's actually quite similar.
In what sense?
In that you abandon your traditional win con and just survive.
That's how you play the Mode Abyss against Sword as well.
Yeah,
I would just Nacho on
all full heal.
Yeah, full
you
heal.
spend all your Evo points, maybe with the first one on healing. And preferably after they spent their Super Evo, you Super Evo with Serp healing and or kill analyse.
Nice. I'm loving the Abyss mode tips, guys. This is great.
So here I was expecting them to like play some things out, but they didn't play much of anything. So I don't go for Cruel. Instead, I just kind of, I guess, make a little board of my own. And I use that. It was kind of a toss-up to leave board or use that, but I thought leaving board lets me push damage if I want to. Because, I mean, yeah, because you do abandon the Izudia OTK in this matchup. You do sometimes like actually have to push damage. Usually it's just going to be inevitable, but, you know, it doesn't hurt to get an extra one in should the opportunity arise. And so here, yeah, 7 cards in hand, pretty easy Glade turn. I've just now 8, so I'm gonna clear the damage Zirconia, 2 soldiers, trade in, start chipping away. I mean, what their best play here would have been the loot cannon guy, but they don't have him. Instead, they spin. And also looking through this is that I'm noticing that they're spending a lot of their loot cards, which means I don't think they have Cincero in their hand. They haven't fused a Cincero yet. So I'm feeling even better because I'm like, they don't even have like their best card. They played a pretty weak mid game. I mean, they had their Zirconia, but I cleared that super easily. So I'm still at 16 life. I have big heal in hand. I have answers for at least 3 more turns in my hand until I start and now I draw another healing beast. So here, because they had nothing on board, I actually didn't want to even play out a Cruel, so I just play out Grimnir versus Sword. This is where the crest comes in handy because I'm not using SVOs on carbuncles, so more clear value.
Yeah.
I think actually that does come in handy in this game. I think at some point I SVO Cruel and it does some work. Another fuse, not to Cincero. I feel pretty good.
Yeah, at this point I'm just looking and thinking that if you survive to 8, it's 1 because you can just keep healing so much.
Yeah.
Almost regardless of what they have, because they haven't had the... What's the other legendary that gives the crest, that gives the...
Ostrich. Ostrich.
Yeah, the 4-drop.
They don't have that one either, so...
Look at that, he's got blade, he's got double blade, that's 1. He's got Odin, he's got Centaur and Albert, so he's got so much damage here. But you mirror that with the heal. Felt like this was the last board you really had to deal with. You just had to answer this right, which you've got easy anyway with the swipe. Oh yeah, I saw you hovering on bug, and I was like, don't use bug alert. Please don't use bug alert.
Yeah, bug alert was going to be much more versatile at the end game if I needed it.
For those big 2, don't you? Yeah.
I didn't need to cycle from the swipe. I just needed to clear. I'm not even digging for anything. I already have everything I need to win the game in my hand.
Yeah.
And at this point, I also have a feeling that their hand is pretty low quality.
And it's turn 7, so this is where you know, okay, if he's going to start doing like chip push and all that sort of stuff, it's going to start happening now.
And he spends a SVO for 3 damage only, which is pretty good to see, because that means it's not doing 4 or 3 extra from Albert or Censuro.
Now you did have something to think about here, because I think you did think about a couple of items, but in the end I was glad you did actually go with the heal. Because obviously you could have used your hard removal, your 8th or whatever it's called, which would have killed that, given you the ward and given you 2 heal, but I think I preferred this play.
I thought Albert was coming down next turn, and so I thought this was going to mitigate by the damage from Albert, especially putting
There was the Grimnir.
Cool.
There was the crest.
Yeah, the Grimnir helped, because I could have SVO'd the Lion and traded, but I wanted to get value from the Cruel crest, which you don't use a lot very often, but it's actually kind of useful, especially against Albert, because if Albert gets his attack reduced by 1, his double attack value is actually reduced by 2.
Perfect.
So saving you 2 life there. Similarly versus Roach. On the Roach turn, because they're bouncing Roach or playing 1 card multiple times, it's going to reduce the Roach damage a little bit.
Yeah, this was a great play. This was a really...
for Quick Blader as well, if they had played it.
Oh yeah, it just kills Quick Blader too.
Yeah.
Yeah, really great play that. And I think he just goes in, doesn't he? I think he just goes face. He just like...
He clears the SVO, I think.
No,
he does? Oh, wait.
Yeah, because he's still got...
he's playing for the Centaur.
Yeah, look at his hand.
Yeah, he's playing for the Centaur.
I hope you don't have anything.
Now, I was thinking here, this was the one play, Barric, where I was thinking you're going to deep wood and bug, and then it's game over. But you don't bug, do you? I think you're happy with just the 1 heal. But I did wonder whether that did give them a potential out here.
So I'm at 16 now, and they've lost all their Evo points. I don't think they're dealing 16 damage to me in any world, and killing. Like I have a board now. Like I'm hitting them.
Well, he's got his Centaur. He's got a Tentacle. He's got 2 other Alberts. I mean, they can still do a lot.
That's 2 turns. That he can't kill me in 1. He can kill me over 2 turns, but I think I kill him next turn if he doesn't deal with my board. And he does with Albert. Yeah, which is a good play. But I still have answers to Albert. Which is, I mean, here his best answer is another Odin, but what is that? Only 4 damage. And then after they play Odin, I'd be at 8 life, and then I have Congregant Wall, and then nothing gets through Congregant Wall after all their Evos are gone. So
yeah. Yeah, I just felt like if you'd have bug alerted the healing beast, it would have just taken his soul, because he knows you've got another. He knows you've got another heal in hand for all his efforts. But yeah, I think you were pretty safe, like you're saying, in what you calculated there for sure. Just an alternative line, I guess. And look at this. I mean, this is again, those who were in chat saying, you know, it's tragic. Look at the sword's hand now. Like he's got 1 more push, right? And he's got this big wall to get through. And this is what happens. You just grind them out, right?
Yeah, there I trade in to maximize my 4 HP and above to save for the 3rd Albert, so the 3rd Albert doesn't clear, and
he passes. Yeah. So yeah, so you see there. So Flying Goatee's just done the soft concede, hasn't he? Right? He didn't quit. He just passed. That's what I thought was happening.
Well, I guess there he had no more answers. I can believe that he had no more answers because he's sword. Yeah. But when you have a unit on board that you can Evo to clear, I don't believe that you have no more answers. I'm literally looking at an answer on your board. So
Now, awesomely, to bring it home, we've got Abyss versus Rune again, and we've seen this twice, right? And this is the third example. So I think in this masterclass, anyone who's wanting to play this Abyss deck really well into the top deck in the game, I mean, you've got 3 great examples, and once again, you've kind of got that body curve, haven't you, with the Devotee, the Supplicant.
Yeah.
Well,
really glad for this to be my last hand in the finals. Just I don't know. I'm gonna go to ladder now this week. I'm just gonna absolute crap hands,
Yeah.
but I used it all up on the SVO. But I guess I'll take it. It's probably worth more there. I mean, yeah, 3-drop, 4-drop removal, some Vuela for additional flexibility and clear, and now I open the mummy curve. So this is actually terrific. And yeah, looking at their hand, they have like no early interaction. So except going first, and this comes up in a few turns. But going first, actually, they really don't need to do it. I mean, they're gonna take a little bit of damage here from not clearing the mummy, and I guess not clearing my 3-drop. But Angrea does just kind of clear everything you can do
this hand is
in the early turns.
Similar what Maxi was playing against playing with in the other semifinals.
oh, he got the Norman from that. I've just realised. Oh, he already had one though, didn't he? Okay, he had 2. Okay, he got 2.
He's got a lot of scary things later in the game. So here's where I'm really making the first big decision, which is Supplicant on curve to clear and maximize my play points and go face. But I have no good turn 5 play, and I almost am certain that Angrea is coming down this turn.
This was a good read.
I need Supplicant to Evo and have a play next turn. So instead I play Vuela, which is essentially doing the same thing. A Supplicant is a little smaller body. It trades the exact same, though, into Angrea. I don't know if the commentators are saying something about this or someone else was, but like a 4/4 or a 2/2 there does nothing different because they would just trade the Golem in to have 1 life instead of 3 life. And here I do like gamble the free clear and get lucky.
But you just still cleared, right?
Yeah.
I would have still cleared, but I wouldn't have had forced another Evo on there.
But if you hadn't done that and you'd have played this last turn and not the Vuela, you wouldn't have been able to clear at all, would you? So
right, if I I would have had I would have been in a real tough spot.
So that was a really good read. That really good call.
And now I have another Supplicant, and this time I don't have to luck it because he has to trade in the Golem, so I can more confidently draw first and then clear Evo. So now I have a threat again on the board. We're even on Evos. He's got to spin like a Stormy Blast, which he just drew, but it's not powered up.
Here comes the Nightmare.
It's Norm.
Yeah. Actually, I don't think he does go double Guardian, does he? In this one? Does he? Maybe he heals.
I think he does.
By the way,
because I think next turn I'm clearing double Guardian with Rule 9.
I suppose that is another advantage to your strategy, though, of putting bodies down early. If you can chip away enough damage, you might tempt the Norman to heal rather than double Guardian. But I think this guy... Yeah, no, he does double Guardian. Yeah, he does. Yeah, okay.
So this is not, once again, nor Super Evo, nor the second time this finals that I'm looking down Super Evo 2 Golem Norman. This is actually what the exact same... No, wait, I don't...
So
I did it in Super Evo here, okay.
You did... I'm pretty sure you did Super Evo.
I
So
did.
here... I found this Super Evo pretty weird. At first, at least.
You didn't like that Super Evo, Targuil?
My thought is I need to leave as much stats on the board. Particularly if what was in this last guy's rune list? That definitely had an impact. What was his AoE options?
Flames?
Oh, he had no AoE. Yeah. So if I left tall board, I was pretty confident that he'd have to spend his last Super Evo to clear it.
If he wants to push the 8 damage.
Well, not like already as a 5/5 to clear. No Stormy Blast. He didn't Stormy Blast last turn. He's a 5/5 to clear even if he just sends the Golem and Norman in, and he only has like an Evo left, and he's not got board space, so he can't Kuon without a Super Evo and clear because he only gets a 3/3. So without a whole lot that I guess he could have some like 0-cost demonic calls, which I guess is also good to get those out of the way early. But if I had just left another 5/2 up instead, then like a fresh Stormy Blast or double or Sage Light buff. Actually, Sage Light actually might clear this anyway. Double Sage Light clears anyway. It just I was pushing damage and we needed to save a big board. Into my last 2 turns. The next turn's gonna be Cerberus into even like 7 damage potentially. And then Rule Knife with Castle out was gonna be like another 6 damage.
Yeah,
What would you have done, Targuil?
I get your reasoning, but I would have just done the play, but without the Evo.
Right.
I think.
And saved it, yeah.
I would have taken the damage, and then I would have played Serb, and about that, and proceeded normally. It wouldn't have killed the next turn, but I would have assumed I would get to use the other Super Evo in some better position.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe go face with it with Rulnai or something.
Or
even with Sam to clear some board for Rulnai or something else. I probably wouldn't have done this play, and even if I had done this play, I probably would have Super Evo the leftmost one and pinged 1 damage with it. I mean,
why the leftmost one?
I'm thinking. Yeah, probably. Oh yeah. No, never mind. It was the correct play if you just Super Evo it. I was thinking if I had used Rush on all, but if I just hit the shield, it wouldn't have done much, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now this was the turn where you could only get 1 thing off the Cerberus as well, right? Is that right?
Yeah, but I was counting here and I made sure I still had lethal anyways. And
yeah.
If you trade in both dogs, you can revive the same one twice, right?
Yeah, you can, but
it's very unlikely. But it's possible, so I didn't want to do that. Yeah.
But there's a 25% chance you don't get any either, and there's 50% chance you get one of both.
Right. So only trading 1 in guaranteed me the 2 damage rather than risking 4 that I didn't need.
And I don't know why they didn't clear that.
Wait, could they have cleared that?
They
did they go face?
Let's look at it again.
Wait, can you rewind, BJ?
Rewind a bit.
So, I'm here.
A bit more.
Oh, they didn't use. Oh, they didn't spend their. Okay, they didn't clear because they didn't spend their SVO. That's why. Yeah.
What?
If they spent their SVO. Oh wait. Oh no, oh yes, they timed out. I didn't realize they timed out there.
Oh yeah, that was the one. They timed out. They tried to play the Stormy Blast and clear that, but they timed out.
I can see. Yeah. Okay.
I didn't even know that happened across the board. That was a less evident.
Yeah. I just forgot that
okay,
happened.
So that is a bit anticlimactic, isn't it? Yeah.
So they had the right play, but just fumbled.
Yeah. You can see him in his body language as well. I mean, again, I hate to keep harping on about it, but I do think that this is the thing that when people are watching this at home and they're just looking at the cold logic of what happened in a specific moment, they just don't have that context. They don't know what it feels like. I mean, Barric, you said to me that at the start of the quarterfinal, didn't you say like you were really struggling? You calmed down a lot by the semis, but you were struggling at first.
I was not feeling very good physically that first game. I was like being on like live,
shaking.
like being walked like thousands, hundreds of thousands of people or whatever. Not hundreds of thousands, but hundreds or thousands. And then obviously on YouTube, so everyone can rewatch this. That's pretty nerve wracking. Like I'm not like I don't like go out. Put my face out on the internet publicly a lot or much at all. So
Who would do such a thing? Who would do such a thing?
I guess you might like that yourself, but
I actually don't even have a picture of myself on the internet at all.
No, I mean I've been trying to do. I've done content with you, Barric, in the past. I've offered to do it with Targuil. He's an awesome player, 3-time War Master, Warpforged. But I know that's not Targuil's thing. It's great that he's here today and and helping, and it's a big deal. And I think anyone who's ever done anything that's nerve-wracking, like if you stood up at a school assembly and had to sing a song, or if you've been in about anything where you're on stage, it creates adrenaline, and it's really, really nerve-wracking. And even though you have all of the kind of logic of the game, and you're very clever and very intelligent when you're playing when everything's calm, it completely changes when the pressure's on. Completely changes. We see that in sport across the board, and we've just seen the final. The guy just made an error. Your opponent in the semi-final made an error. You made an error. It's just human nature, man. It happens, and I think people need to take that into account.
I mean, yeah, there's a reason like we were watching like people play the games and not like advanced AIs play the games.
Exactly. Yeah, we're not watching Stockfish play against ChatGPT here, are we? So.
Exactly. Yeah, that would not be very interesting.
Well, I'll tell you what was really interesting. I really hope if you're listening and watching this, I hope you've really found that great. A bit of a different video, but I really wanted to do a masterclass because I think, again, just as a card gamer, as a player myself, I would love this type of content, like getting under the hood, hearing about the playbook, understanding your thought processes. And I think you've given both of you have given a really great account of these decks, and I can't wait to go and try some of them on ladder. So now for you, Barric, congratulations! You are through to the top 8, which is the 3 playoffs. Obviously, you've just won one of them. I think there's actually 4 playoffs. Sorry, not 3. And then those 4 playoffs, there are 2 finalists that go through now to Singapore on, I think, the 26th of October, 25th of October. And it will be a top 8 double elimination, best of 3. I cannot wait for that. It's going to be an in-person event. It's going to be streamed. And yeah, I'm super happy for you, man. Super happy for you.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, I still maybe haven't like processed it all. Like it's pretty, still feel slightly incredulous that I got one so far, won so many matches, especially against Rune, and just some great draws, some good gameplay, and I was very, very glad to pick the Izudia deck last minute. Definitely better than Eggs, even though I saw someone else get to the top 8 with Eggs. Very impressive on their part. That could not have been me for sure. And yeah, just some good games of Shadowverse. Thanks, especially Targuil, helping me out through some of the Mode Abyss decisions in my practicing. Some good deck tech tips that helped me with my build. Like I said, they're very similar in the end. And yeah, looking forward to figuring out how to maybe make it through the Singaporean Grand Prix finals. That would be exciting for sure. It's going to be exciting to do some traveling for that. And yeah, thanks for give me a chance to explain my decks, BJ. It's great to speak about them.
Absolutely. And our guild is the Collegium Magistrorum, and we'll obviously do what we can to help you prep. And let me know in the comments as well if you want to see, we focus on the quarterfinals to the finals there. If you want to see me and Barric do some further breakdown of the Izudia Control Deck and maybe run some live games and have some kind of like coaching as we go, we could do that. And also similarly, if Targuil is up for it, we could do something with Abyss or Crest. So let me know in the comments if that is something that you guys would be interested in. Final words from each of you. Anything that you want to say? Any shout outs or any final words on the stuff we've covered today? Targuil, anything from you?
Not much. I'd say that Barric was definitely the underdog in the top 8 and pulled through. I mean, it was filled with Crest and Rune. I expected more loot to be in top 8, but it didn't happen. But yeah, nice to see it happen.
Brilliant to see it happen, yeah. Great to see you taking those prey decks, and hopefully we're going to see you in a Shadowverse Open qualifier, Targuil, as well. I'm keen to twist
Maybe
your arm.
I'll want to register with one.
Absolutely, you definitely should. And yeah, Barric, any final thoughts? Words from you?
Not much. I would just a bit. I guess thanks to all the people who played the tournament against me. I mean, it was good to have good opponents. I felt a lot of those matches were pretty fun to play. And I definitely encourage more people to bring spicier things to tournaments, because it does work out. I mean, look at the last SVO Dragon one there, and then now Izudia Forest, and like mode's not like spicy, but like people thought it's like kind of like tier 2, you know, not the big 3, and you know you can do it with the proper techs and picking your matchups well, and so a lot's possible in this game, and it was fun to see some success with that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Like you say, Dragon winning in SVO1, you're now doing it with Izudia and Mode. And yeah, hopefully it inspires tournament players to bring what I call prey decks, right? Trying to prey on, if you know Rune is meta, if you know Sword is meta, try and bring decks that can prey on those. Remember, you're going to be able to see your opponent's deck lists, which is very different to ladder. So I think you've set a bit of a precedence, and I'm hoping to see that influence carry over into future tournaments. Okay, thank you very much, both of you. Let me know if you've got any questions, guys, in the comments. Appreciate all the support on the channel. Of course, like and subscribe and all that jazz. And we'll see you guys in the next video.